Yo, what's going on, everybody? I don't know if my audio is even working. I see it working there, so we should be good to go. Yeah, just going random live. If you're watching this later, fast forward and see who um, turns up. I'm gonna see what Marcel's up to real fast. 5 by 5. What up, Lord Cameron? Copy. Yeah, I haven't been live in a while, so wanted to go live today. Don't really have the best setup, but I have this right angle table, and I can see myself on this monitor up here, but my laptop is right here in front of me, obviously. So I just trying it out, but I'm getting a lot of glare from the window. See that? It's not too bad, I guess. I mean, who cares? It's just us, right? But yeah, what's up, Lord Cameron? Whoever else is watching, yeah, comment below if you've never been here before. Let's see. So there was one thing I was going to do besides the whole ask me anything was. All right, that's not what I'm displaying though. So let's see. Milos of Croton. I was talking to my buddy at the gym the other day about this, and I had never heard of this guy. And I was kind of surprised because, I've been around a lot of this, whatever. But that doesn't mean that I've read everything. In fact, a lot of the friends that we have haven't read as much as you would think. Invite guys, copy. Let's see what Marcel's up to. Motherfucker. But yeah, I haven't been live in a while. I did make a new page. If anybody's interested in going over to that page, it is a fitness page. But sorry, this is a topic I have been sort of reading about my whole life, theology stuff, whatever, but not an expert in any of this. I write fiction novels. Cool. That's all I'm trying to do. I ain't trying to fool nobody. And a lot of us are musicians who found a couple of different channels, all stemming from things like Myth Vision, Gnostic Informant. And then some of us found these other guys, these Wes Huffs, all the way to your Billy Carlsons. I forgot how you say his last name. Billy Carson. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Why is Discord being weird? Marcel Magos. There we go. Paste and give him that. But yeah, the American Bodybuilding Network is another page that I'm going to have. I already started it. And all it's going to really be is, I have more knowledge in that world than anything here. And a lot of people here don't want to hear about that stuff. So I'll try not to. But there's a lot of drama in the Gnostic world right now. Now, in the bodybuilding world, there's always some drama and stuff too. It's fine. It's already out there. I'm not making up any of the drama in the bodybuilding world, or I'm not making up, I just interviewing people like I do here, or like I was doing here. I don't really. So I was talking to Gnostic Informant the other day because I am kind of stuck in the middle of something that has nothing to do with me, but I'm friends with two different parties of people. And we have Gnostic Informant, who we've all been friends with once, right? And then there's falling outs. Amon falling outs. Him and Derek haven't had falling outs. Him and Cross Bible haven't had falling outs. But him and Amon and anybody who is stemmed from a combination of Amon and Gnostic Informant, people who were watching those channels have now gone into Discord groups and made their own Discord groups, So I think one thing that's going to happen is Some channels that do lives will pitter, they'll sputter out and kind of die, like they have, like this channel. Um, I have 1,500 people that came from a Lady Babylon pool of people who showed up. And unless I keep saying stuff to entertain that crowd, I'm not going to get more of them unless I maybe be sort of a mediator between what's going on in this theology world, this pseudo theology world, which is becoming way more mainstream than I think anybody ever thought. We have people who were atheists or maybe even of the religion who had their own come to Jesus experience and realized that Jesus was a myth or based on other people that have never been named. Scarface of yesteryear. And I've learned over the years that one group of people calls somebody a terrorist, other group of people calls them a freedom fighter. So college will teach about cultural relativism and stuff. And because of that, I respect the differences in all of my friends. I'm a very frustrating friend to have because there's a lot of things about me that are more conservative, but there's a lot of things about me that are also very liberal. And so I have friends who don't get along. And that's been the story of my life forever. Private school kids, public school kids, college kids, whatever. And ironically, being civil affairs, you're a liaison for the U.S. Army and any country that you're occupying, right? So we're the guys who are handling everything that's happening. Provincial reconstruction. How do we help the country that we're in? You have other guys killing bad guys and doing stuff like that. And we work a little bit with them, but we're ultimately trying to help peace negotiations and stuff like that. Is what kind of what we do, in a way. District council meetings and seeing how we can work things out and whatnot. And I'll probably go live soon with, I've been talking about it, but probably, hey, what's up, Marcel? Oh, see, I need to get my Hawaiian shirt. Shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have two.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I used to wear this all the time.
I used to have a bunch in like middle school and
Mm.
stuff, but yeah, I was just talking about we're not going to open it up today. We're not going to bust the lid off of anything today, but there's a lot of drama in the Gnostic world. I don't say Gnostic
Yeah.
theology world.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's been there forever, so it's not like it's something new.
Right. And there's plenty of people who are involved who are talking about it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and my channel is not super popular. So it's not like us talking about it's going to, you know,
Oh,
offend
yeah.
people too much. Like I'm friends with Gnostic Informant and I'm friends with Tiger. I'm friends with Chase. I'm friends with you, Lord Cameron. And it's been my understanding that he gets a little aggressive in the emails and stuff, and sometimes it'll be at like 2 in the morning. I've gotten called from him at 2 in the morning and stuff like, "Yo, what are y'all talking about on the thing, or this or that?" And it could probably seem maybe a certain way, but I have a lot of conversations with him that are very normal. You know what I'm saying? Like we all. I know that when people start kind of fighting, they want to find all the flaws with the other person,
Yeah,
and
man. It's why.
very
Yeah.
normal, very common, totally common.
What I find ironic is like they use the same attitude they hate to like battle the attitude they don't like. Like they'll be like, "Oh, I don't like this person's attitude," and then they'll just use the attitude they don't like against that same attitude. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
I just
they'll just mimic the attitude they hate towards the attitude they don't like. It's like what do you think you're what is like that doesn't accomplish anything. You just become what you don't like and thinking you're being a morally better person by just throwing the same attitude right back from where you got it. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know.
I think we've been having. I think there's been. I've said this a couple times, and maybe people are tired of me saying it, but I actually think that we're having two different arguments. I
A
think
lot of
that
people, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah,
yeah, and now we're off center, right? Because like we're like we everybody
yeah,
who's
yeah.
like if we were who's who wants to be a millionaire, right? And they said, what is the
Yeah,
age range of a Neoniscos? I think
yeah,
everybody would get
yeah.
the question right.
Yeah, of
They
course,
know
yeah,
how
yeah,
to.
yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
knows what the age range is supposed to be. Totally. And so I think a lot of people have gotten past that and they're looking for other things that talk about different age ranges and stuff, And so that's irritating to people who are trying to argue about the garden scene. It's like, no. It's if the whole Big Lebowski pederast connotation made in the Bible, I have said it's not the garden scene. It's when Jesus came to town and everyone brought him their kids and he put his hands on them and all that. And no, not in the way that we use put hands on people today, but that's just what it says in the Bible. But that is what people have referred to, because that is every age range. And so that's never said in the arguments, because I think because the arguments are two different arguments, we get off correcting that. Because I feel like both my groups of friends here that are, I'm not friends with like Madalena, and I'm not.
Yeah. She's really nice, man. I like her a lot. Like, she's a nice person.
Well, there was a situation where people were talking about the arguments
Yeah.
and said that the emails back and forth. I was like, oh yeah, we have had email traffic with all four of us. With Gnostic, and we've had
Oh
email
yeah,
traffic
yeah.
back and forth. I guess you have, when you're not just texting the person, it can seem a little over the top to receive 5 emails back and forth from someone, when if they were texting you, it would just be another text and then you would text them back. But because it's an email, like we're not all trying to.
Yeah. I see what
and
you're
it's
saying.
2 in the morning. It's after a
Yeah.
live stream that was 4 hours long.
Yeah, this is.
But
there's a time and place. There's a time and place, and I mean, uh, anyway, I don't need to go there. So, but yeah.
Right. Well, that's why I'm talking about it now, because I want to bring the people on if they want to talk about it. So people might not want to go on Gnostic's channel, but if they want to come on my show and talk about it, I'm putting that out there, that I would host that, because I don't have anything else to host anyway. So if I was to host or try to, I know that some people talk more than others. I don't talk a ton, but I will. If that's what we're doing, then I'll control the stick a little bit more. Normally when I have a guest on, they're talking, or at least I want them to kind of carry the show a little bit, because it's their episode, and but yeah, I don't want anybody that feel uncomfortable with coming on or whatever. So if not, no big deal. But I guess the way that people are communicating is just mean.
Yes, it is. Everyone's being mean.
And so it's just
parties. Everyone's being mean to everyone. It's just
probably.
Well, he was being first. Well, he was being first. Well, I don't know. It's just like, what the, like, are we fucking like arguing over who fucking stole my lunch money right now? Like, it's just so childish. Man,
I'm not. Yeah, and I agree, and I'm sure that all the parties involved and their friend groups would probably all agree to. I think that they have a hard time talking with Gnostic, because he's been in debates with all kinds of guys like Andrew Wilson and stuff. So it's like same with like Richard Carrier had a hard time with Andrew Wilson because of the way that they talk to each other. The way that Andrew Wilson talks, it's not the way that Richard Carrier has a debate. Richard Carrier has an academic debate by giving some backstory, letting him speak for a while without the interruptions. Andrew Wilson is more of a bam, 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 bam. And, Neil's had exposure to him. So,
I mean, a properly structured debate is like almost no debates online are real properly structured debates. Like, well, yes, there are lots of them, but a lot of them are just like, it's like a free for all Wild West where everyone just yells at each other. Like, a properly structured debate has everyone gets their 10 seconds to give their, or their 2 minutes to give their point uninterrupted, and things of this nature. You don't just all yell at each other. And even moderated debates I've seen, a lot of times moderators are pretty
Hey, baby.
not very good at being a
Hey, you
fucking
okay?
moderator. But
My
I
wife
mean,
poked her head in. She just got back. My
hello.
little boy had a hard time going to sleep. So
Cueing some A's. Oh, hey, it's Mandy Warhol. Hey, dude.
yeah,
Hey, man. I was on his show. Oh, we were on his show. I was asleep during that, man. I was falling asleep. I was just about to go to bed when Mandy asked me to do that. But.
I had that was actually a pretty fun episode. Honestly, I think
Yeah, man. I had a
it,
blast. Yeah.
if I don't have a lot of energy, I had a little more energy. So if I don't have a lot of energy, I can be a dull guest. I've been terrible on Gnostic show where I didn't say nothing the whole goddamn time hardly because I was exhausted, so tired. Because sometimes it's just so.
Yeah.
I mean, I was getting up real early, not as much anymore, but I was getting up real early for the last year. Every time we would go live, sometimes I was getting up at 5:30 the next morning. You know what I mean? Like just.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Like let's go. You know, it's like I got to get off. You know, so it was definitely taking a little bit away. Now, I haven't been live in a minute. I don't remember the last time. I was streaming shit all the time in the living room, but I went live with Mandy the other day, and that was kind of a good refresher coming back into the conversation some. The big thing with me is that whenever I go on someone's show is I don't want to shit the bed too much, say too much stuff that like might be taken the wrong way, or if I can't nail it the way I've said it in my head before, like when you're thinking of ways to explain
a lot of times with that though, you gotta kind of like shoot from the hip, man. You kind of gotta miss the target 14 times before you really get good at hitting the target. It's like a comedy guy like working his joke out in a shitty bar for a year before he actually like solidifies what the joke is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of gotta. I guess what I'm saying is you kind of gotta practice it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, and I haven't opened up or elaborated, too much, or let the character really flow too much, just because I don't really know what kind of character I would want to come across as, So we've had some fun with it where we had different debates. We dressed like clowns or Halloween outfits or whatever, and we all agreed in the beginning on the 90% of the concepts, and then we have the discussions, and then we get into different characters have different reasons for being here. So like Neil, for example, isn't religious. He doesn't believe in any of the gods in that kind of way. But Cross Bible is.
Hold on, I gotta turn
my you're fine. You're good. Cross Bible does, so it's interesting to have two people who disagree on theology on one side of the table, and then same thing on the other side. Like me, Chase and Tiger Shark probably seem a little bit more alike in certain ways, but Tiger Shark's got a Native American background. Chase has a film background, and he's exposed to a lot of Christianity and stuff. And he's really exploring this Greek thing. He's trying to understand any of the dualism that exists within language, and there is, and one of the things that we talked about early on with I'll put you back on screen when is Jacques Legoff and Jean-Claude Schmitt were French medievalists from the Annales school who ultimately looked at the architecture and the artwork, the anthropology surrounding a time period when trying to understand it, because sometimes the texts and the reasons and justifications and what is written in the history book is a narrative sometimes, and only these subcultures who would have some dualism would have truths hidden in it. So, with that being said, the poetic license is dragged across the board into philology. And so now there's a debate as to how much you're allowed to. And even though Scobie One has even talked about authors on this show that have elaborated how, however, the song or however the poem or story makes you feel, that music video you see in your head or the way you feel is uniquely correct. And so scholars really hate that because then, it can cause dividing content and rhetoric to begin. You're taking something very beautiful and exposing a lot of the flaws compared to today's culture, and makes it sort of an easy target. Kind of like, the reason why everybody makes Diddy jokes, it's an easy target because there's things that are not okay already on the table that we completely acknowledge. There we go. And so,
Yeah,
and so we're all nobodies, and arguably even some of the biggest religion channels are also not known by everybody in the world. Sometimes I'll ask guys like, "Have you heard of Gnostic Informant?" And they're like, "No." And these are
I mean,
religious
yeah,
buddies, like guys who follow
yeah, yeah,
religion
yeah,
channels and
yeah,
everything. And
yeah. But because there's like hundreds of circles within circles, like
yeah,
in terms of groups you know what I mean? Like, sure, Gnostic's got 250,000 followers, but like that's a kind of an awkward number because like not all of them are watching currently. Like, there's a difference between
yeah,
current followers and
and
how
the
many followers you actually
views
and how many
and
followers you actually have, and
actual
and
views, yeah,
like
and how long they
like
even watch the video. Like,
truth be told, like you're not really at a lot until you hit 1 million. You got to hit 1 million before it's really a lot, in my opinion. I'm not saying 250,000 isn't a lot, but like, you get what I'm saying. Like, 1 million
yeah,
is like this milestone that kind of like puts you more easily as a household name. Now, not a household name exactly, but like, you get what I'm saying. Like a household name in the religious circle. Like, if you had 1 million followers, you would be like a household name in religious circles, as opposed to not every person in religious circles knowing who Neil is, right?
right. Like, there's a lot of like different pastors and stuff, like
Yeah,
Joel Osteen and Stephen Furtick. They're considered religious figures, I would say, of what they do,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they've reached some very large numbers. And then of course there's just views. Like, each live stream
Yeah.
might get 10,000 views, and so that's 10,000 of the 250K that's watching it and gathering or forming an opinion, and more than likely about 80% of them like the channel, and then 20% of them are watching it to see what they've said that they don't like.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
like
Like,
Babylon, because some guys still watch Lady Babylon who don't like him just to find errors in whatever he's talking about to cover whenever they talk about the topic of
yeah,
it.
so it's like hate. It's kind of like hate watching.
Sort of like a
Yeah.
investigative journalism, sort of, because they want to have
Yeah,
enough
it's
ammunition.
a facet of what investigative journalism is. It's like
Yeah.
one little morsel of the book of investigative
Well,
journalism.
well, there was one misconception that I'm the only friend to Neil who's friends with the what people call Ammonites, and then their adjacent friends who are not Ammonites and don't even really watch Lady Babylon, but now they have their own group of people. And yes, 90% of them might have come from that channel, like my own channel, right? My own channel has 1,500 people that pretty much kind of came from a Lady Babylon group
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
curious YouTubers, and I'm not
Yeah,
saying that they
of
agree
course.
with Babylon, but that's kind of where they found
A
witch
lot of
doctors.
them, were pretty Babylon zealous in the chat and stuff. Like,
I
a
actually
lot
think
of
it.
you, right? There's a lot of them who were very, very, very much. Um,
I actually think it's kind of a clever show, clever concept. I wish it was almost
I think it's.
more.
Yeah, I think it's. I enjoy it a lot. I think.
I
I
wish it was
think it
more
just
like a
goes.
Bruno Borat kind of thing, but
Oh, that
I
makes
like,
sense. Yeah.
wouldn't it? Because then you protect yourself as the academic, right? Say, oh, well, I'm doing a dinner for schmucks Borat thing where Bruno goes
Yeah.
around and he gets a taekwondo instructor to do dildo
Almond
defense
light.
with holding dildos in his hands, wearing a dildo, getting people to do this stuff. Amen. Like, I've been called that by a professional wrestler from England who watches the
uh,
show. Him and
no, that's
Dorian
funny.
Yates were making fun of me being a diet Amon
Oh,
or
that's
Amon
funny.
light. Yeah, yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's
That Dorian would even know who Almond is. That's funny.
well, personality wise, I know exactly the kind of guy that Amon
Yeah,
is because I have a lot of the
yeah,
same
yeah. No,
personality.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
I have a lot of the same personality characteristics.
Yeah, yes. Most theater
I
people
don't
do. Like
I
I'm a
don't act
theater
like
person
him.
too.
Well, like
Yeah.
the whole like
Like,
just
or
saying
people
shit.
who navigate towards the arts in general have that like
Right.
style of eccentric.
Yeah, it's
Eccentric.
theater. Yeah.
Yeah, like all I did growing up, all we did growing up, me and my best friend, was write plays and act them out for our parents, and then then we wrote movies and filmed. Once we got our plays became movies. Once we got a movie camera.
Hey, here we go. We got a question. Are we burning the Murex seashells today, boys? Now, let me tell you, this is how it all began for this channel. And that's probably why it's coming from it's coming from Chase because he's been here since very early on. So yeah, it started with investigating if there was any.
What is this asking?
Are we burning the Murex seashell today, boys?
Oh, cool! I should make this full screen.
We have found them putting the purple dye in incense, and we've also seen them putting it in ink with other stuff, almost like they were making a writable version of a theriac. We have found them using the Murex shells for antibacterial, anti something else. We've seen it as toothpaste. We've looked it up in we've looked it up in
They used to burn
Dioscorides.
shells in incense too. They burn it as an incense. I was looking at the paper for that the other day.
Yeah, they burned the shells themselves. I heard that they didn't smell good, but it was like offerings.
No, they smelled great. They smelled really good. They wouldn't have used it as an incense if it didn't smell good. Why would they do that?
Well, that's exactly. I've heard that the royalty have always stunk like hell because that purple Murex sea snail dye stinks. That's why you could smell them up.
No, but they would put there's this part of the shell that's like the trap door. I forget what it's called now, but it's the part of the shell that closes, and they would use that part of the shell specifically for specifically. They would use that part of the shell specifically for
before it's fermented, obviously.
Yeah, no, that part of the shell when it's burned has special medical properties. Like that part of the shell, not for the teeth. No, this part of the shell is different. It's got you can make medicine and oils and shit out of it, and it's got different properties than the main part of the shell. Like the little trapdoor part of the shell's got completely different compounds in it when it's burned or something like that. Now, I need to reread the paper.
Yeah, I know it. I remember the one that you sent because it was right around the time that we found those incense ones. But I was going to say that we did speculate that there are a couple of different species of fish and arguably mussels and Murex sea snails, if you will, hypothetically, that eat this particular algae or grow and leach off of this different algae that has DMT in the algae. Well, it's sort of a different way that I have brought this topic up is that there's different fish and there's different things in the ocean that eat there's this algae that has a lot of DMT in it.
Oh, cool.
And so it's not the actual fish. So if for any odd reason, let's say that this region, this Phoenician region where this was all happening, let's just say the algae was let's just say it was exposed to that just for forever, let's just then maybe. But we found with either like through trails of Marcus Aurelius theriacs or the Dioscorides and Pliny and all the different sacrament concoctions, it seems as if that they just simply add something that they know has DMT to concoctions with that, so it's just, who knows, but it's I don't think it ever really came from that, but I think that they would always put the holy plants with purple dye, it seems, often. So, for example, like purple sindons that were done with ceremonies are covered in the oils and shit you're using for the ceremonies. But it wasn't like it was, I guess you could say, by side effect of what you're doing, you end up impregnating the cloth with that because it's going to be reeking of that shit because people are always getting the oil poured on them with this ceremonial cloth. So yes and no.
Yeah,
Yes, but
yeah.
it's after the fact. Now if
That's
they were
just
mixing in
that's
some
weird.
holy plant with the purple and dyeing something and making a ribbon, making a curtain out of it, okay, because they were doing that with ink, but we would just have to see some kind of source to not get laughed out of here. Um, but like I said, assumption and speculation is perfectly fine. I write books on how something could be without the explanation by making my own. so so I can
Yeah.
kind of figure out ways to where some. The only problem is that if the origin statement came from nowhere, then you're justifying nothing. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
so here we got. Have you listened to the Junius album?
Oh no, I haven't listened to it. No.
If I have and forgot, it is possible. But Junius album, I'm guessing
No,
this
it
is
just came out like the other day. It's like the album that's like influenced by Abba's work.
Oh yeah, no, I don't really need to. I mean, we've peeled this onion enough to where any newbie that shows up isn't going to tell us anything we haven't heard before. If
Yeah, I mean
anything,
they're
we would
okay.
tell them about it. But if someone's, I mean, yeah, I think this is gonna. There's gonna be all kinds of things that spiral off of people getting into Greek a little harder than they were before, because a lot of the people hanging out in these groups are all just in atheist groups. Not all of them. Some of them were into the Greek stuff. They were into the this and the that and the medieval shit and Lord of the Rings and all the cool things for sure. But there's a
Yeah,
lot of people that were just atheists at first and knew
it's
nothing about this Greek stuff, and then now they know because they've heard it all. So um, I didn't know as much as I thought.
yeah, it's just it's
I thought I
music.
knew more than I did when I first.
It's just music, man. It's an album of music. It's pretty good, but the band is just cookie cutter in my opinion. And that's not to say they're not good. The music is great, but it's too like for me. You know, it's not
I made some
as a
AI songs in the
as a musician.
nature.
I'm just like it sounds too much like a few bands from the '90s where I'm like, it's not original enough. Now, what it's original anyway, you can argue that too. And again, they're great musicians. It's just not music that. It's just not my style of metal, man. It's not for me.
Yeah, I found this one band called Gnostician. They were like an alternate time signature type, band and stuff. But no, I don't. I'll be honest, I don't like a lot of music. Even bands I like, I don't like listen to all their songs. I'll listen to like two from people that I like, and that's it. And then it'll be a different artist, different artist, different artist. But when I get into different prep modes and I'm getting ready for bodybuilding shows and shit, like I listen to some of the same shit over and over again so much. I'm looking for new bands, but I never like anything. I
Yeah,
never like people's music. I never gonna listen. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
why I don't even feel motivated to make any because I'm just like, well, no. But it's like writing a book. No one's gonna read it.
yeah.
God,
Well, I mean, yeah. It was probably, yeah, yeah.
God told Moses to burn that shit and inhale it in the telesterion. Well, I think now, even with some of the renditions put on screen, I think people now could, especially the Judaism, now that they're starting to just talk about the plants being used and mushroom and
Oh, is
psychedelics
that
being
fucking
used.
Chase?
That's a different Chase.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a different Chase. He's been around for the whole time, but you might have confused his profile in the past with the other Chase.
I can
But
actually see now because I'm on a screen that's big, like, so I can actually like see everything legitimately as opposed to looking at a
oh,
tiny
that's yeah,
laptop
you got that
screen.
new screen now.
Yeah, like everything is big enough for me to see, and it's mind blowing. I'm like,
I
what the
have
fuck?
I have
Is
everything
this what
pulled
the?
up here, but I don't
Yeah.
I don't want to be looking over here the whole time.
Before everyone's picture was like this big, and now it's like this big. I can actually like see what the fuck I'm looking at here.
So so yeah, so everybody here now has heard 100 times that the acacia tree, acacia bush, whatever you want to call it, um,
Oh yeah, yeah, with
that
Syrian Moon, Acacia with Syrian Moon.
burning those bushes, you know, potentially would release DMT into the surrounding area. The smoke would have potentially DMT in it, and that if you were to inhale some of that or be around that all night, sort of campfire style or whatever. Now, I would love to find a ceremony that maybe was even common, where people chopped that tree out the ground and burned it as a ceremonial offering, and people
Uh,
that are around
yeah,
around the fire
there's got to
hallucinators.
be one. I'm sure we've talked about one before. We must have. We've had to have talked about one
That
before.
or
We
some of
just
these
like
texts
I
might
just don't remember
actually
it.
be them doing that. I mean, potentially. The Gnostic called me the other day asking, he's like, "Hey, where did the group get the idea of hands and feet
Cool. I'll check that.
being code words for genitals?" I was like, "Oh, Francesca Stavrakopoulou." I was like, "She's Hebrew." I was like, yeah, she's Hebrew. But if everybody's using those things as symbolic references,
Yeah, like
I mean,
euphemisms
it
for
wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me right away. But it's not Greek though. So, but that was, like I said, cultural context. So we're looking at the artwork, the anthropology, the other surrounding cultural texts or predecessor cultural texts. Being Old Testament. Now, the Old Testament and the New Testament are so incredibly different, though. You have every single story is about somebody different in the Old Testament, whereas the New Testament, it's all about one guy. And so
Yeah, this is
it's
true.
very different, really. I don't think they should be combined, even though they try to use Old Testament prophecy, empty prophecies from the Old Testament to justify stuff now. It's not how it works. Not in reality. Not in reality. Like, you can write a prophecy. I've written several prophecies, Antonius the Black and da 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 da. Being the guy who was supposed to write the Bible, being a prophecy that nobody will ever hear because it was never told. You have to write the shit to fucking, someone's got to write it down and it not get burned out of a library to get here, and considering we only have like 5% of anything that was written, take everything we have, do the reverse math, and imagine what all the other texts might have said in those earlier years, because they were burned into the sky. And that I talk about that in the book of Marcus. The one I'm working on now is Antonius says the reason we're going to write it is because there are many prophecies that are never told. He's one of them, but he's turning a new leaf in life, and he's going from blood and guts. And after meeting Yeshua and Secundus bringing him to him in Capua and stuff, he's changing. He's fulfilling a prophecy that was never told. It was told to him, you know. And so I don't think the Old Testament should be called the Old Testament. I think you should have the Hebrew Bible, and you should have the Christian Bible, and that should be it. And that's
Yeah,
the whole overlapping. I get it. It's me. What if I became a pastor, but I was nothing like how these pastors acted? I mean, you can call me Christian all you want, but that's kind of like with Jesus. He wasn't like a typical rabbi and stuff. So, like, yeah, sure, he was Jewish, but he wasn't interested in Jewish people at all. He didn't care about any other Jewish people, like the
yeah,
Pharisees, and acting right for the three different groups of Jews fighting at the time or whatever. Like, he was acting in a way that they all disagreed with. So it's funny that we call him Jewish, but he's like, how Jewish is he if they fucking killed him? It's like, he can't be that Jewish. He's not an
yeah,
example of anything Jewish, apparently. So why do we even have the Old Testament? It's like, oh, but he quoted things out of the Septuagint. And it was like, yeah, but that's just like, if I join the army today, I can't be a spectralors. You have
yeah,
to go be a ranger. That's just what it is right now. So if the religious text that even existed at the time for his particular group of people, the village and group that his parents belonged to, or John the Baptist, if all they were working with was the Septuagint, because that's all there fucking was, as far as other than anything outside of Rome, or which is Greek 2.0, it's like, yeah, this is all you got, and he's using some of this stuff, but it's like no one's happy with this guy, And it's like, what a total shocker that they freaking crucified him. Where's the surprise? It's like, they were crucifying so many people. This is no sweat off of it. Nobody would even think twice about something like that. But but they do. It's Old and New Testament. I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but I have a feeling that it was a slow progression the entire time that I think now people aren't as much of a fan of as they used to be, because there are so many things about the Talmud and the Jewish religion that I wouldn't associate with Christianity at all. To even
Yeah.
have their Bible in the front of ours, it just does, or ours. I'm pretending I'm a Christian right now, but you don't know what I mean. And it's like, why would y'all even have that in there? Somebody had to push that somewhere
Yeah.
along the line. Something going on in Jerusalem and the kingdoms, and that I would love for somebody to elaborate more. Is that how did the Old Testament even become part of this? Because when they were writing the book of Mark, I don't think anybody was reading anything out of the Septuagint. They were reading
Yeah.
these cliff notes of some stuff Jesus did that eventually became the book of Mark, but it started as sections of writing. Like anybody that's a writer out there knows that when you start a writing project, you write the ending, or you write down certain things you want to happen first, and you lay it out, and you start orchestrating how it's going to go. So in the beginning, these stories were very broken. They had to be very choppy and broken, because whoever's writing them was not like participating with this particular, which means that so much of what is even written is made up. the,
Yeah. Of
na- the
course.
names of people, yeah, that's why in my book it doesn't matter if you even get to know all the names of the different Galileans that were with his group or whatever. Antonius and Decimus are going to make them up, because you have to write a story. Whether you have
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
details or not, you might still have to add things to it. How many based on true stories veer from the real story? Like
Well,
even
they
in the
have to because the real story is nothing boring.
sometimes, yeah, and that, or
Nobody tells
like,
the real story. The
yeah,
real story's always fucking
the
shitty.
the idea. Well, there's so much about the guy. Like if they wrote about a guy who was super Jewish, um, that also caused the same thing, but instead you get this Hellenistic version of a Jew, and it's like, oh yeah, well, it's just as made up as Adonis, and all the different archetypes that he's got a little bit of everybody in him. You know, um, Jesus's character. It is like you took all the cool things about a lot of these different, and you kind of threw them into one, and you put the Jewish on top, the little
Yeah.
Star of David on top, to kind of really round up everybody to say that there's nowhere else to go now. If you're a pagan, you're not Jewish, but okay, that you have to follow these dudes. And so the really extreme groups that are doing stuff that Rome's not cool with, they're calming down because of this universal, national, growing, um, multi-denomination religions forming is Christianity. And I can just, as a writer, I can see, like, even me going back and expanding Secundus 10,000 more words is a lot like going back and adding on to Mark, because you write the first book and you get it out there, you get it going. It's like you gotta. There's this thing that in the writing process, whoever hasn't written a book but you're trying to, you go from working on it to being done with it. Now that's hard to decide because you want to make it so perfect before you release it. Same with Secundus. I sat on it for the longest time, and would re-edit it, change it, reread it 100 times. And I still, reading it now after it's published, I'm like, I want to kind of tweak that, or oh shit, I didn't catch that, or an editing thing that I might want to kind of, to make the words smaller and put more on one page, things like that you want to change. And so going back after, right when Matthew's being released, they're correcting and adding on to Mark to keep the whole story consistent. And so that's why the ending of Mark has a different taste than the beginning of Mark, like, because it was written later, maybe even finished by a different writer. You can't think that all these books are written by the same guy. And in that, there's going to be a veer. They're all like, if me and you wrote the same story, it would sound very different. So we would have to come together a little bit, or I'd have to fashion it towards something that was written before. but y'all will know if it's my writing because of the way that I write, and then people will know if it's someone else's writing if they have a more dynamic or however, and then people have picked apart the differences in Mark. But I will say the other day I did see Myth Vision. He went live with the dude, one of those popular guys, little like redheaded, like little Weasley looking guy or whatever.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched any of that. I haven't watched anything in the. I haven't watched any of these channels in like a year now.
He's yeah, me neither. Because now it's like what I really don't think there's anything that I haven't heard of or haven't
Yeah,
seen 3 episodes of on the at least, if not more, on the exact same debate topic. We've got Marcion. Now we had an episode where it says, did Matthew or did Luke copy Josephus? And I think what he's doing is he's taking the works of Josephus and he's taking the works of Luke and seeing that they're very close and seeing if that's where it's coming from. And Luke is so much like Matthew. I can't imagine thinking that it was copying someone else. At that point, you have enough
yeah,
with Mark and Matthew. Now you have enough to build Luke. And then, of course, with the refined hand, you get John with all 3 of those books. Of course, there could be some, if Josephus's work was released to the same guys that were writing that book, if they were on the same side of town where those articles being written were, I'm not the professional that would be able to explain or elaborate on that. But ultimately, the answer to that question is no. I don't think so. I don't think Luke was influenced by Josephus. I think Josephus read parts of the Bible, because which one's going to be more popular by the time Josephus is releasing his first album? Is it this book, that's this religion that's been growing and formulating already, or like the first, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't foresee, Josephus. I think if anything, his quote, there were many wandering priests from Galilee and many of them caused disturbances. If anything, considering that Mark already said Jesus was from Galilee, if anything, Josephus is copying the Bible. Not,
yeah.
hey, babe, you okay? Oh, yeah, yeah. How'd it go? Pretty good. Yeah. Little man sleeping. Took him a little bit, but he's out now. I love you. She went and got this stuff done. I don't know how she feels, but she went to an orthopedic massage therapist, and
Oh yeah.
she probably feels like shit because she probably dug in her neck because
Oh
it's
yeah,
so,
yeah.
so she might be wiped out. But Stevie didn't go to sleep till 2. So I tried putting him down at 1, and he fought me for an hour. He would not go down. I would try to get him to calm down. He'd be falling asleep in my arms, put him in his crib. He'd wake right back up, gave him some more food, whatever. But Josephus would have copied Mark. That is where we left off. And that is what I would, or Josephus copied just the Bible in general. But I don't think it's the other way around. Unless Josephus
Yeah,
was out long enough. How much of Luke is different from Matthew to say that would be my question. Because that
yeah,
would be that would be the next episode is Luke. But if Josephus came out before Luke was put together, then okay, yeah, maybe so. Just as much as we like to say Mark is plagiarizing some of the Odyssey, because we have a
yeah.
couple of different places, And if you think about that, guys, like considering this whole story had to be written, you had to make a story out of the guy. You do steal stuff from other things. My Gladiator, you take Gladiator, Passion of the Christ, and maybe a little bit of some other stuff sprinkled in there, the eagle with Channing Tatum or whatever other Roman shit. You lump all that together and you throw a mystical thing in the middle of it, and you got my book. So you're gonna see stuff that y'all have seen from Gladiator. A
Yeah,
gladiator
yeah.
being killed in the arena, yeah.
And,
Spartacus, all the shows we've watched, yeah. The way that Antonius talks is based on Maximus and every other noble dude from all these old movies and stuff. There's no hiding that. I mean, you read it, and so yeah, that's I totally would argue that with anybody without even having the degree, but I couldn't tell you enough about Josephus or Philo or any of these old writers to make any claims. But I can make some
Yeah,
really funny fiction. Like in Marcus, they're going to go meet Philo because Jesus has a Jewish background. So they're interested to know more specifically, but not from the Pharisees. After all, Marcus ends up killing the Pharisees in the end of Secundus, so and burns them and stuff. So they get approached by these two praetorians that have been asked to come and talk to Antonius about whatever's going on, because something's going on. Something's going on. Some trouble in Jerusalem. Apparently, this kid of this guy who's really well known, but he's not anybody we would know because he's never written about in history books. Named Antonius the Black. People know of him by mouth, you know,
yeah,
from some cool stuff that happened in the army where he was kind of remembered for, and so they have to go to Egypt. They go to Alexandria in the book and they meet Philo. And of course, of all the characters in these books, I always base the character or choose how many characters based off like my friends. I design certain characters like your character, Cassian. He's actually black, but he's from Africa
yeah,
because it's the furthest place away, just like how you're in Canada.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I
yeah,
did little things that only we would all know to
yeah, fair, yeah,
distinguish.
yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Hadris is Lord Cameron. Hadris has an eye patch,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
Lord Cameron's obviously he has one eye that's I believe it's cataracts that he has. I'm not exactly, I
Oh,
can't
interesting.
remember now
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so he has one eye that's inoperable. So that's so I made Hadris with an eye patch. That was his thing, that help you recognize him if it was ever a movie or whatever, give you someone different in your brain to think of, because you
Yeah.
don't want all these characters to act the same, and you certainly don't want them looking the same, kind of like AI pictures when all the guys look almost identical sometimes when you're trying to give me a bunch of Romans lined up against a bunch of like Dacian tribes. It's like all the Romans look identical, or whatever. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we have any other? Let's see. Are you
I don't
talking about the
think so.
previous albums?
Yeah, this is how old shit. This is like 20 minutes ago.
All I've learned, yeah, I know, but I just because people are since they're
Oh,
yeah, I'll post it because they're doing it. All I've learned is that Septuagint bros are different than Hebrew bros. Yeah, yeah. Stephen Nelson would be better to talk about that. I think a lot of people don't want to like Steve Nelson just because he's a Christian and he's gone after a monologue. But when it
yeah, that's
comes
true.
to his timelines and the things that he talks about and comparing where different verses came from and which one was first, he has
Yeah.
done a
Oh, yeah,
lot of good. He'll tell you that some of the passages were Greek first in the Septuagint because they were added in, or things like that. He covers that, but he doesn't say that it was all Greek Septuagint first, and then they pieced together a Hebrew one later, and then they retroactivated the initiation date of all the stuff, and blah 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 blah. Blah. However, there is not a lot because it was all everybody.
Oh,
Judaism was constantly under the threat of being extinguished in one way or another with different empires through the years, and it started with
yeah,
Canaanites, all the different names that they've had through the years that have ultimately created that group distinguishable from the others in the area. And they still fighting over that fucking piece of
mm,
land. And from what I've heard, the coastline there isn't even ideal because there's like a coral reef or something there. So for even importing and exporting, I've heard that there's complications with that piece of land. It's so biblical that they literally are fighting over that particular piece of land. It's not even the most advantageous, but they want to expand all the way over to the rivers and take chunks out of these other Middle Eastern countries, and that
yeah.
is
Oh,
not
yeah.
popular right now. That is
I
not very
gotta,
popular.
I gotta reset my PC. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Sure, no worries, man. I'm gonna probably hop off. Okay,
Yeah, okay, all right, all right.
in about an hour. I don't need to take up too much time.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Janius is Boofruck. Listen to the Acacia Strain. Great band. Yeah, Acacia would be what everybody seems, and everyone's seen even Joe Rogan talk about this, like on a little TikTok 10-second clip or something saying, that the acacia tree or the acacia bush, blah, 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 blah. And this is just something someone heard sort of in an armchair environment, and it's not wrong. It is high levels of DMT in it, and and that was what we all came to these channels in the first place for, was just uncovering ancient entheogens. But I think because that's just really, and that's done on other channels that aren't religious at all, like Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia and other entheogen type channels, or weed channels, mushroom channels, psychedelic channels. They do it, they dabble in a little bit of the religions when they're traveling. But this is why we all initially made these channels I made the channel in the first place, was to talk about ancient entheogens. In fact, the whole Witch Doctor Christianity book, that's all we're looking for in the book. I don't really care or want to know about stuff that is gross, that we're not gonna do today. I don't need to entertain it anymore, and I already have. And that's not what's written about in this book. But this book is ultimately a collection of a lot of people that are in and around the discussion. It's also chapters on different entheogens and a semi-autobiography on how I came to learn about all this stuff. It explains a little bit of my childhood. It talks about me joining the army, being atheist, struggling with that. When you think you might die and not come home, you have nowhere to look forward to going. And it can really steer your military career in a different direction if you can't grasp the concept of you putting yourself in harm's way more than other people do by being certain MOSs and jobs. So, some people who are really scared of dying might be a cook. I went out the wire a lot with my job, and it wasn't going to slow down. Every deployment, it was going to consist of a lot of going out. And so I chose to get out of the army because I had done my service, I deployed, paid the prices and stuff, been injured a dozen times, from military stuff, still live with injuries, still live with, just the remnants of military service. And I think it's all valid. I think it's something that builds why someone would believe the things they do now if they come to the conclusion that grandparents hate, that it's a made up story based on a bunch of guys who were doing magic type stuff, and that consisted of a lot of things that they would hate to admit, like sacraments and stuff having psychedelics in them and whatnot. It's really hard to admit. That's the easiest thing to admit on these channels now. All the other stuff and things that we looked into has become all that these channels are about now. So it's no more ancient entheogens. No one's talking about that at all. Now it seems like they're just focused around that PDF word and arguing whether a made up character is being said to have, is the author trying to allude at that happening? And if I'm writing a story about a guy writing the Bible, it matters to know if that's what the writers were trying to intend when they wrote a scene where there was a ceremony. Luckily, I've given the backstory to how I explain the garden ceremony. I give, backstories at least to that both parties can live with. Yes, it was a ceremony in the garden. Get over it. It's a ceremonial cloth. However it was fashioned on the body, the kid was naked. Yeah, the kid was, a young man. And I say kid, like, because we've been saying that's now the slang for it. But yeah, it's a 20-year-old dude or whatever, give or take a few years. Sure, whatever. Is he even 15? Sure, I don't care. I'd say I'm not making any bold claims like he's extracting anything out of him or whatever. And so it's become very layered. The onion here is very layered in miscommunications and gotcha moments. And hopefully we'll have some people on the show soon, and we'll talk a little bit more about the shit that's going on, because police reports are being made because people are receiving a bunch of emails, but some of the stuff in the emails are being misconstrued and being made to portray some creepy kind of behavior. And then to counter that, I'm receiving emails from Dr. Rahman to other people in the theology world with very inappropriate language, very creepy email type stuff being sent to people in the theology world from Amon Hillman. So my big thing here, that before we have these people on, hopefully they will come on. It's worth everybody talking about it at least one more time to hash the shit, because I would only imagine that if people are trying to document and make police reports and stuff, this is getting really out of hand, because I don't think anybody is trying to do that to anyone when you have 250,000 followers on your YouTube channel and you live off of the YouTube channel. I don't think you're going to really go full blown psycho, and you know what I'm saying, and risk losing all of that. I've had very normal conversations with Neil, where there's and he said stuff that even y'all probably would enjoy him saying, talking about the age of a man and how it was younger and stuff. Yeah, all that stuff's, yeah, that's why I think we're having big miscommunications and big misunderstandings. And I don't really want to be in the middle of it, but I am. So I'm the witch doctor. I have nothing else to talk about. We can blow that lid off a little bit more as it unfolds. But the big thing here is that, email traffic back and forth, if you're from a certain place, and this is just because I have to say it. Apparently, Neil's being accused of sending emails in a really creepy manner towards a female in the theology world. And so I asked him about it. I said, "Hey, did you send like a picture of like this girl's house to her or something?" He goes, "What?" He goes, "Oh no, she lives in this place." I was like, "That's just down the road from a place I used to rave in." I sent her a picture of me in front of the rave place. Just, I was like, "Ah, look, whatever people do in their spare time, no one's perfect. I know, we try to get into the trying to catch a fly. We try to get into character. People that we know will go hit the bong or drink some wine before live streams. You know, um, I've made jokes, about that to defend him. Like, oh, he's emailing us all back and forth because nobody's answering the phone at 2 a.m. when he gets off a live stream. And I've made jokes like he's probably like drinking or like coked up or whatever, like just being funny, not trying to really besmirch any character, but just like he's talked about all that kind of stuff on his shows. I didn't think it was much of a secret. I was like, maybe he's up like partying a little bit and he's coming on strong or something. I don't know. But I've also received the email traffic back and forth, the 2 a.m., phone calls or text or whatever. And it's not really supposed to be I don't think he's trying to like harass people, but I think he was just trying to get some points across. And if it's emails, it's different than if you're texting. And I'm not trying to defend Tim. And of course, any of the females or my adjacent friends that are friends with the female that I'm talking about, she seems like a nice person too. Like really into the Greek stuff. She's a student of Amon, and he was real mean to her on an episode. I guess that was the opinion of people, and that's fair. Debate things. That's why I talked about Andrew Wilson. I was like, he's had to debate guys like him. I'm sure it kind of works, and you feel like you're getting what you want to get out before you forget to say something good, and I'm sure he would agree that he might step on people talking, because he's been very transparent. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to defend him. It's just that I'm friends with a lot of people that are friends with everyone else, and I want to stay friends with all of them. Name callings happened, and it's like, okay, well, we don't want anybody really feeling I don't think anybody wants anyone really feeling threatened. And if people are calling cops and making incident reports, hey, okay, all right, I'll talk about it. I ain't doing anything to try to piss anyone off. I'm just, I'm watching, friends of mine get into it. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen over time. We used to have podcasts with Gnostic and Tiger and Chase, and they were so great, and now I'm scared we couldn't even have a debate without it getting a little too, because it kind of a little sticky, it takes a lot of work to be prepared with documentations. Like if Tiger Shark had the Jennings book ready, and if I chose better titles for some of the videos I've made, it probably wouldn't have seemed so, like half, you know, what do you call it? Like half-assed, like, because sometimes we just go live and we have stuff prepared and it doesn't go good. And sometimes you go live and nothing's prepared and it's the greatest episode ever. And you're like, you just can't. And I don't have a very good show. So, I mean, I don't have a lot to bring here. I'm trying to figure out the same stuff that these topics are all about. But I think the general consensus here, and I'll get off the topic of the drama, is I think we all agree that there is entheogens. And it would be cool if the topics kind of revolve back to that. But goddamn, everybody here is so smart. We've already dug up everything older and younger than Diogenes. And so we all have seen and read some of the same stuff. We've read so much we don't even remember half of it. And I think we all actually agree on 90% of the stuff. I'm pretty sure Gnostic would say that garden scene is a ceremony. And I'm sure we would all say, yeah, he's a young man. But then you don't have a debate. So you have to argue things that were maybe said before, or ways that they were phrased, or maybe before minds were changed. There's a video out there. Like I had some PowerPoints back in the day that were very, very, I mean, the Lady Babylon crowd really liked them because it was just really kind of giving them some ammunition, because it was just cultural stuff that was similar to what they were talking about. It was artwork and stuff. We're finding alabastrons in the artwork from 100 BC. Yeah, it's the Aldo Brandini wedding. And just showing it, And then we're deciding if Jesus is holding a magic wand or if it's like some power scepter thing that they were putting in artwork. Oh, and then we found out that there's a book about the magic wand, actually. And there's a couple of different live podcasts where people talked about the Jesus magician magic wand thing. What do you know? Well, now I want to change the PowerPoint a little bit. So I've taken them down and we've re-talked about the topics. But it's not the same as when you have like a series done like that. Like educational, like lazy college professor YouTubes you just watch. And then you just take notes, So hopefully we'll have some more stuff coming up soon. I do have a YouTube channel I'm working on that is outside of the theology world, which I talked about in the beginning. And Marcus, the stage play. Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot, actually. And believe it or not, in my book, that's kind of how this is going to be presented to people. And where does Antonius work? The gladiator school. After a fight one night, Antonius is going to get out. He's going to say something in the middle of the ring. And just, Antonius is developing this writer of his own self, and he's using this story as a way to connect with all the people that come to these fights, So, but it has to develop and grow. That's why there's another book even after this that's due to be made, if that makes sense. Lord Cam, would you recommend playing in a metal band in 2026 or just use Suno and skip the band? I don't know if this is a joke, but I'll see what Lord Cameron said down here. Jesus doesn't want us all to be good little martyr bros. Doesn't Jesus want us all to be good little martyr? I mean, sort of, but not really. It's hard to really explain real quick how to explain that. What up, homie? He wants you to do what is right for your own personal salvation, which is a grocery list of things. I see my little boy's up, so it's a good time for me to go. Let me see who else we got here. Is Christ a drug term? Yes. Christ is a medicated, smearable substance. Yes, or to a frio or Christ is something that you would smear with, and frio means to smear. So whoever is smearing everybody with oil would have been likely the candidate for the title of a Christos. In the book Witch Doctor Christianity, I do break that down a little bit more. But yeah, yes, it's you have to Christ a drug, so it's not specifically, although the different types of, yes, it is still though, because there is other words for perfuming yourself or um like rubbing on something medicated, like for a burn or something, would be a Christ, would be Christing. Yeah. So Gnostic informant and Chase got beef. Well, no. Well, yes and no. So Tiger Shark and Chase are, they never asked to be representatives for the Amon group, but it's sort of been bestowed upon them from other parties. And so I, being the show that hosts these guys, have now become sort of in the middle of people that are on the opposite side of Tiger Shark and Chase and people on the opposite side of me have issues right now. And now, it would be a great time to, uh, as much as we're all sick and tired of talking about all of that stuff, would be a good time for me to have something on the show. So I'm like, here we go. I'll just make this episode. Is it an anointing term? Yes. Is inject a drug term? Is smoke a drug term? Is snort a drug term? Jesus wants people to suck a stick. Eating veggies. Well, no, this whoever wrote the Bible wanted everyone to like the Bible. That's as easy as that's it. And if the surrounding cultures have a lot of stuff like that going on, then there might not be too many verses speaking against it, but maybe one or two. So don't lie in the bed like you do a woman and stuff. Hey, it's not talked about a lot, just here and there. So then you have things that people think sound like homoerotic things with other men. So it's like, I guess whatever the muse is telling you to feel is what you feel, right? Eating veggies is a drug act. I don't know. And swallow. I mean, y'all all know what the definitions are. You certainly wouldn't ask fucking Steve from the gym over here for anything in a serious manner, but people are curious as to what I think. Yeah, it's by definition, yes. Christos is smearing a medication on you, yeah, or a holy drug, a holy plant, holy oil being made with some kind of plant that has to have psychedelics or something in it for it to be considered holy in the first goddamn place. Why? Because it makes you fucking high. It's like, no shit. Like there's no other explanation for it's like I get it. But is it this whole dildo ritual with some dude in the park or whatever? Like it's like that's none of that is in there. Sorry, guys. It's like you had just whatever's in the text. You can't just say this is in the text and it not be in the text. That's the first flaw people have, is that they keep watching a guy who does that for a living. He tells you something's there that isn't sometimes, and it's like, no, we've all read that phrase. There's no dildos there. The problem is that people are still accusing people that came from that group of thinking that, and they don't think that. So that's what I'm saying. There's not enough communication going on. This is why being the Gnostic liaison here what's in the secret gospel of Mark. There's a couple of things here with the secret gospel of Mark. There's Mark B, where two Neoniscos arrest Jesus, and then there is a Mark 2.0, which is where, oh, hey, it's my boy right now. Hey, what's up? I'm actually live right now, bro. Yeah, yeah. You want me to send you a link? Yeah, yeah. No, that's fine. Cool. Let me send you the link. I'll send it to him. And we'll get him on here. That actually might end up being a good episode. Like I said, y'all, you can't plan nothing. Invite guests, copy. Because if I had tried to set this up, well, like for example, I was trying to go live at 1:00. I would have already been off, or yeah, at 1, I would have already been off by now. You got to implement the young shadow every single day. Not sure what you mean. I don't know what the young shadow is. All right. I was looking up just while we're waiting on Gnostic, the Milo of Croton. Milo of Croton. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Milo of Croton is, go back to this page. 540, 511. Oh, what's up?
What's going on?
What's going on, bro?
That was interesting. I just saw that text with the photo. I don't know are we good to talk about that, or do you want to?
Yeah, well, we can. Yeah, I don't think
I don't want to. You want to keep finishing off what you're doing? I'll chill. I want to.
No, I was actually talking about that, and then when you text me, I decided while I was waiting on you, I pulled up this Wikipedia on Milo of Croton, which is this like Olympic athlete from back in the day that they say he like carried a bull uphill every day.
Yeah,
from calf to. I had never heard the story of all the Greek stories I've heard. I had never heard that one before, so I was like, there we go.
Oh, there's another one. I don't care who you are. Even classicists who are in the field for 50 years will run into a Greek myth they've never heard before, just because there's so many.
There's
so many libraries. Like even if you read the entire Apollodorus Bibliotheca, you've only read 5% of all the Greek myths, because there's so much. There's just so much out there, and a lot of it survives in the Latin side, not even in the Greek side. So you just get the Latin version, like the Achilleid. The story of Achilles growing up, that's not, we don't have the Greek. We only have the Latin.
Yeah, and it's much old. I had to look that up right in that freaking...
it's a prologue to the events of the Iliad. It's about how Achilles grew up among the Amazonians. We don't have the Greek anymore.
No, and they didn't even have the baptism in the river Styx until later too.
Yeah,
like Achilles. It seems like they wrote up this badass archetype Achilles character. They made him David Lee Roth with the blonde hair and everything, and then later they kind of filled in the gaps on, you know what I'm saying? Whatever wasn't in the Odyssey, and I feel like it was what we had Homer. Then there was one thing, and then the Achilleid, and I think there's like three main ones.
There's like 7. So you have the Cupria. Just happens to be sitting right here. The Cupria or Kypria in anglicized.
Gotcha.
And this is another prequel to the Iliad. So this is right before the Iliad. This is about Iphigenia, the sacrifice.
You know what year that was written?
There's a Homeric version of it that does go back to like probably pre-Socratic period, because the pre-Socratic yeah, and Herodotus knows about it. Herodotus mentions it. The version that we have, I want to say, is like 1st century AD or something. Like I said, they don't.
Century.
Yeah, so the version that we have, it's whatever the church preserves. So a lot of times you just get like some random fragment that might. This is through fragments. This is not a fully surviving text. So you have the Kypria, you have the Achilleid, you have the what else is there? You have the Odyssey, you have the Iliad, you have you have the Thebaid. The Thebaid, that's also after the events of the Odyssey. That's also part of the Homeric tradition. What else is there? I'm missing a big one. I know I'm missing a big one. What's the one where it's the story of the priest? Hold on a second. I know I'm from. There's another one that I'm missing. I'll think of it in a second. But I think there's 8 total. I think there's 8 total Homeric epic stories.
Okay, so we got Cypria or Kypria.
Cypria.
Then the Aethiopis.
Yep, there you go. That's another one. Yeah.
Little Iliad.
Yep.
Persis, the sack of Troy.
That's the Iliad.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just put that on the Iliad.
And then you got Pindar and Bacchylides.
Is that what they're trying to lump that into the Homeric epics? Is that what they're doing?
Bacchylides mentions Achilles in mythical narratives, kind of like my book.
It's
Pindar, several victories. Oh, they praise Odysseus.
But what I'm saying is there's actually 8 stories that are attributed to Homer. I'm not talking about Pindar.
Got you.
Yeah, you have what it is you have the Kypria is Homer's, the Achilleid Homer, the Thebaid Homer, Odyssey Homer, Iliad Homer. That's 5 right there. I know there's another one that I'm missing. There's a big one that I'm missing for some reason, and I don't know why I'm missing it. It's like driving me crazy that I can't think of the name of it right now. It's over here somewhere. I have it here somewhere. But anyways, there's about 8 total. That's what
Aeschylus.
What'd you say?
Aeschylus.
Aeschylus.
Yeah, Aeschylus.
Oh, Aeschylus is the author.
Aeschylus. Yeah. Okay. Greek tragedy by Aeschylus.
Yeah.
I'm chat GPT and like give me the list of all the things. Yeah.
I asked for the Homer. The Homer. What are the books attributed to Homer? What are all the books attributed to Homer? Attributed. I'm missing a big one. I said 5, but I think there's about 8.
Okay, so Nostoi.
Yeah, the return. Okay.
Telegony.
Epigoni. That's the one that I was thinking of. Epigoni. That's it. That's 8 right there.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anyways, there's about 8 of them.
But yeah, so I looked up stuff like that when I was formulating how I was going to change, the story a little bit just for the purposes of the book, because I have a character who's a descendant of Achilles that you've just never heard of. And it obviously would come from one of the random women sacked along his travels, not anyone you would have ever really known of. So the grandmother is unknown, you know what I'm saying? But if they're running around sleeping with everybody every time they go to war, there's going to be more than one woman pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's an unknown descendant of Achilles, but that's kind of the thing that he picks up on with these different visions that he has growing up of fulfilling this prophecy that's going to happen, which is he keeps seeing these visions of scrolls and scriptures and stuff, and he doesn't understand what it is until one day Secundus brings back home in a fit of panicking, brings Yeshua's body back to Capua after the stuff in Jerusalem. But Yeshua's not dead. So Antonius has to keep this whole secret and say that he died. And then that gives him something. So my dad was an army guy and became a writer. That's what Antonius is just doing. So he's a gladiator instructor now, and he hasn't done shit in forever, and he decides to take on this project with a couple of other guys. And so we were going to talk about them going to Alexandria and meeting Philo, and that was going to be one of the big turning points.
That would be a great narrative swing, man, because
we got to Jew it up, we got to.
He's part of that royal family that marries into the Julian-Claudian dynasty, but he's also Jewish. So he also thinks he's special on that side because all Jews think they're special. They all think they're chosen people.
Judeo-Claudian. Okay.
No offense, but they do. That's just a fact. They do.
They do. I have those conversations sometimes. Yeah.
And so do I. And they always frame it like, but we don't think we're better than you. We just think we're chosen. Shut up, dude. But my point is, Philo comes into the picture, and then he produces through his lineage, you get this character as Tiberius Julius Alexander. Can I share my screen to show people that?
Yeah.
Julius Alexander. This is one of the most fascinating characters in world history, in my opinion.
Julius Tiberius.
Yeah, I got it right here. And because there's a book that someone wrote. There's a scholar that wrote a book. Do I have it over here somewhere? I must have it in my other room because I was reading it. And there's an Amazon book where you can read. It's like a story. It's a narrative about Tiberius Julius Alexander. And the way the scholar wrote the story, it's not like a scholarly book. It's actually like a story about his life. So it's really easy to read.
Gotcha.
But it's all based on the sources. So it's very accurate. And he fills in the blanks a little bit, but he adds his own narratives and stuff. But anyways, this guy, he's from the Jewish family. He's from the Jewish family from Philo. Philo is his uncle.
Okay.
You can see, where does it say that? It says, it's got to be in here somewhere. Oops.
Julius Tiberius. Okay.
See, here it is right here. Tiberius is. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Lightning and thunder out.
Oh, really? Damn.
Order for you, dude, every day. Another prominent member of Tiberius Alexander's family. Zeus is present here, dude. Zeus loves fucking Florida. Another prominent member of Tiberius was his uncle Philo. So you're like, holy shit, dude. The architect of Christianity itself. I mean, there's no one debates that anymore. Everyone agrees. He's the architect of Christianity.
Okay.
Philo.
Perfect.
As far as theology wise, he might not have wrote the gospel story about Jesus.
That works perfect, though.
He never mentions Jesus. Exactly. It's perfect for your story.
Yeah.
Because you have the narrative story, you have the history story. He runs into Philo and he starts talking about the Trinity, the Logos, you know what I mean? The Eucharist, all that stuff's from Philo.
Right.
And this guy, you can have a young Tiberius Julius Alexander right here, right?
Yeah.
He's born. What is he born? I forgot when he's born, but he's in office in 46. So he has to be in the 30s. AD, be a young man. He's in the Aniscos.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's like between 15 and 25 or something.
Yeah.
And what does he do? What's so big? Why is he a big deal? Because number one, he ends up becoming the second most powerful man in the entire Roman Empire. So he rose to procurator of Judea under Claudius, and that's after that's obviously in the 40s. And then he becomes prefect of Egypt in the 60s. And when he's prefect of Egypt, that title of prefect of Egypt, Praetorian prefect right here. Yeah. Look at this. It is what does it say? It originates of Augustus. I'm trying to think where it says this is the second most powerful position in the entire Roman Empire.
This is perfect because the story starts with two Praetorians talking to Tiberius in Capri. And they end up there's a messenger from Jerusalem that sends a message to Tiberius, and Tiberius is very reluctant. He doesn't want to do shit. He wants to retire, stay on Capri. Not, they called him the reluctant emperor for a reason. He never wanted to. It's like he wouldn't do things. You know what I'm saying? It's like he wanted to kind of.
Yeah, he wanted to retire early, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and live on Capri and stuff. So they go and see an oracle, and these Praetorians, this is perfect because if he ends up being the Praetorian,
when he was doing this guy was getting shit done. This guy was using his power in the East, getting shit done. You know what? You want to know what's crazy about this guy? He hated. Yes, he's half Jewish. He's half Jewish, half Greco-Roman. Yeah, he married his mother. But here's the thing: he hates his fellow Jews. He's a self-hating. What do I mean by that? He's the guy. Look at this. Siege of Jerusalem. So what side is he on? You're probably wondering, if you're watching this, you never heard of him. You're probably like, well, of course he's on the Jew side. He's Jewish. No, he joins Vespasian to destroy the temple. He wants to destroy the temple because he believes in a universal Judaism, which is Christianity.
Okay.
He hates temple Judaism.
This is perfect.
The Sadducees, he hates the Pharisees. He thinks they're all a bunch of douchebags. That thinks they're all a bunch of. He's like Jesus. Like he believes in the whole universal type of idea. So he's literally the first in command. He's the first in command to sack the temple. This guy, a Jew. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Out of all the people that would knock down the temple, a Jew does it.
Did he not like them because of the maybe how because of the stuff that we say today? Like they're better, they're chosen people. Did he disagree with that, or?
I think Tiberius was like Philo, where he does think the Jews are chosen, but he thinks they're chosen to go beyond Jerusalem and get out of Jerusalem and take over the Roman Empire.
So it's like they kind of sidetrack.
More ambitious. He's more ambitious than the Jerusalem Jews. So he hates them because they're not ambitious enough for him. So what does he do?
Okay.
So he ends up becoming the second most powerful man in the Roman Empire behind Caesar. Like, I don't know. Are you a fan of rap music?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there's always a big new rapper that's out who's the top of the chart, whether it's Post Malone, Lil Wayne, right? Eminem in the late 90s, early 2000s. But there's always that number two. And the number two is always Jay-Z.
Right.
You ever notice how Jay-Z is always number two? He's never number one, but his whole career, 30 years, he's just number two, number two, number two, number two. That's how I would describe Tiberius Alexander. He never becomes Caesar.
So he's kind of a goat.
But he's always lurking. When Claudius gets killed, he's still number two. And then now Nero takes over. When Nero gets killed, he's still number two. Now Vespasian takes over. And he just kind of plants himself at the top of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Overseeing everything, but never getting too close to that throne because he knows how dangerous it is.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah.
once you're there, you are dead. You're
Juvenal writes comedies, right?
Right.
And one of the characters in Juvenal's comedy, or satire, I should say, one of the characters in Juvenal's satire disses this guy, Tiberius. He calls him an Egyptian Arabark. And that word Arabark, it means like Eastern. It's really like a it's like the N-word, man. I mean,
that's what I was gonna say. Is it like a derogatory term for who you are, from where you're from? And
because you have that word Arab in there, which in Latin could mean either you're an Arab or like it could mean dark skin Easterner. Gotcha. And then you have the arc in there. So it means like basically the word, if I had to describe it, it means like you're a swarthy Eastern merchant that's like completely like, like you're all about money and like you're just like an Eastern swarthy Easterner who's all about money, right? That's what that means. So he calls him this, and then he says, because there's a bust of his face in Rome. Because when you're prefect of the Praetorian Guard, you literally are the second most powerful man in the world. So there's a bust of his face set up in Rome, and they're pissing on it. This guy says the Romans hate him. They're pissing on it because he's Jewish. Right? They didn't like that. So I'm just giving you a background of what this guy, how people viewed him, what he was doing. He hated the zealot nationalists, but he also so there's zealot nationalism and then there's globalism. Like he was more of a globalist, whereas the temple Sadducees were nationalists. They're trying to stay in Jerusalem. They're trying to keep everything in Jerusalem. They want to keep the power structure in Jerusalem. Whereas a guy like Tiberius, he doesn't like this. He wants Judaism to go international and become globalist.
Right.
So there's a big difference between, and that's what Christianity ends up being. It ends up being, it's globalist Judaism. That's all it is.
Yeah, Judaism for everyone.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Yo,
Stupid fly. What's going on?
hey, am I coming through? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah, I just
fuzzy, but
lost
yeah.
my headphones. I'm sorry. You guys were talking about satire, and there was a link in my thing, and I was like, oh shit, let's see what's going on.
Yeah, well,
How you
this
doing?
book I'm writing is the funny one. Like, of all the books, Antonius is blood and guts and action. Secundus is like romantic and emotional. And then this one's supposed to be funny as shit. Like just so I have this Philo character I'm creating, and he's like super Jewy, but it takes a while to kind of build the characters before I start writing about them. But like, it's got to be like when they show up, he's got to have like gold shit everywhere, or cases of gold. He's got to say things to like his little assistants and shit that like are so modern day Jewy in a way to make this really funny as well. So I'm working with a lot of stuff, but I waited on learning about Philo, and you're saying that juvenile was where
Juvenile.
juvenile. Yeah. Oh yeah. I keep saying like the juvenile.
He writes a satire where the character basically pisses on his boss.
Have you read Juvenile at all? Any of Juvenile satires?
None.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you should check out Satire 7. It's pretty fucking dope. He basically goes on and says like everybody fucking sucks. The Greeks are gay as hell. There's all these Jews in Rome, and like the working man can't get a job, and the working man's let down. It's like so hateful, but then he has like class solidarity at the end. It's like paradoxical. Like what the fuck, dude? Like this is the most hateful shit I've ever read. But now you're like appealing to me as like a working class like schlub. Like Juvenile's really fucking dope, dude. Like he's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like no holds barred. He hates everyone, dude. It's fucking great.
Oh yeah, he was definitely pretty great. Like he was in your face with that shit. Like I said, that was it's a shocking thing to say about the Praetorian prefect of the Eastern Roman Empire. Like that type of shit. If he would have found himself in Alexandria, he could have gotten arrested for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was pushing the envelope back in the day.
No, this is perfect because I already have some Praetorians in the story. So this might really help because it's kind of like, yeah, well, of course they know him.
Yeah,
he's the fucking second in charge. Like, yeah.
Prefect means he's in charge of the Praetorians.
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
The head. He's for the way they set it up, the Romans were smart. They knew how to balance out the power so that the Roman Empire can get checked. And the way they did that was the office of Praetorian prefect was in Egypt and Alexandria, and they can control the grain. So if something were to happen, the Praetorian prefect, if he really wanted to, he could fuck Rome up. And so the way they set it up was the Praetorian prefect office was in Egypt, and the emperor was in Rome. So they balances out the power of the empire. That's why he's the number 2. He's got all that power.
So he's over here, and then the emperor's over there.
9 times out of 10, when an emperor, so this is I'm going to give you a little tidbit fact that's going to blow your mind. 9 times out of 10, when a Roman emperor was killed, it was by his own Praetorian guard.
Yes,
and that the reason why they had the balls to do it was because the Praetorian prefect's the one who told them to do it.
Yeah, they were like a shadow government.
It was a shadow government.
Like they kind of were the end all be all. Like, like whatever's happening down below, cool. But at the end of the day, if the Praetorians want you gone,
they want you gone. You're done.
They'll replace your ass so fast. I've heard.
If you look up Roman emperors assassinated and then do like who assassinated them, it's Praetorian Guard.
Every time. Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
I don't know who the hell would ever want to be Caesar.
Me neither.
I mean, you're asking to die. Someone's gonna want you dead. It's and back then it was happening. Like it's not like today where like it doesn't really happen that often, even though we've seen people getting shot at this past election and stuff. But it's not like it'd be like his Secret Service, somebody today, their Secret Service guys all actually being the determining factor of whether you live or not.
Yeah, look at this.
That's crazy because nobody knows what the Secret Service, like nobody listens to, nobody from the Secret Service talks or does anything,
Yeah. How many emperors were there in the 3rd century? It says right here, general estimates 25 to 26, while others note the claimants and usurpers, if you include those, you get 60. So then it says the crisis of the 3rd century from 235 to 285. just in that 50-year span, there was 26 claimants to the throne between 235. And that's just that little period.
Right.
So that means every other year there was a new emperor. Every other year.
There was this one year called I saw it on a TikTok or a YouTube short, like the year of 4 emperors.
There's a year of 5 emperors too.
5 emperors. See,
Yeah,
now,
that happened twice.
so Gladiator 2 got a lot of backlash. I can't remember the names of the emperors in that movie, but they had a turnover in the movie. Like a couple of times they murdered the kids,
Yeah. Well, I actually defend that movie because it tells you from the beginning we're not doing anything historically here. We're changing things. Like the way the way they have Marcus Aurelius's son get told he's not going to be the emperor, like that didn't happen. That's all fake. So but you're thinking of the year the 4 emperors was in 69 AD. And that was after Nero died. You have Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, all in one year. And then in the year 193, the one you're talking about from the movie was Pertinax, who after Commodus dies, right? Commodus is Marcus Aurelius's heir. After Commodus dies, Pertinax, Didius Julianus, Niger, and Albinus, and then Septimus Severus, all 5 of them in one year. And that starts the Severan dynasty.
Oh my God. That's how that got. Okay.
Yeah.
Severan dynasty.
All in one year. 5 emperors.
Yeah, I was like, dude,
it's not safe to be Roman emperor ever.
Yeah.
You have knives pointed at you in every direction.
Yeah, I was in Julius Caesar growing up too, and I was like, why would Brutus kill I just didn't get it. I was 4th grade. I never would have understood like why did Brutus, I had to play Brutus. So I was like, why would I do that though? And they're like, it's hard to explain. Like just kill your friend and get off stage.
Right. It's a lot of reasons why.
Yeah, but I'm glad you joined because there was some Mandy might join again. Let's
get into this whole thing, dude, because it's actually blowing my mind.
Yeah, I was kind of
watching people lie in real time as some sort of like a move, like they think they're doing some sort of chess move. And I'm watching, and it's like these people know. So I think Madeline knows that Amon's a liar and doesn't care, and now she's doing the same thing. They're Machiavellian. There's no morality. There's no. They're probably literally atheists pretending to be pagans. Like they don't actually believe in, because you wouldn't do something like this if you actually.
I've said that before, not about her or anyone, but
sociopathic type shit.
I think a lot of people were atheists that wound up here, and now they're kind of looking at things a little differently, Do you want to pull up that image, or do you want to not show that? What the
court case thing, or not court case? Of the filing of the what is it, like a complaint or something?
Yeah. So
court case.
So I heard, I can't remember from who, but I heard that there was a police report made, and so I asked Marcel about it, and Marcel had a picture of it, and so he sent it to me, and I was like, okay, so
I'm whatever right now.
Yeah, and it seemed like I mean, from what I read, I was like, okay, so she just
it says a prior student. It says okay.
Yeah.
A part of the YouTube group that studies ancient language, the group has a teacher who has issues with Neil, a prior student. Neil reached out since she is a current student for a YouTube interview, where it ended up being Neil was extremely rude with her. So you call the police for this? Oh my God, hold on. Let's keep going. Oh my God, this is insane.
She was going to come on last week. That's why I was like, I'll talk about it, because
they're that upset about this, about me exposing them in real time. And also you not knowing what a definite article was is pretty embarrassing. But anyway, let's just keep going. And it was extremely rude with her and aggressive. She said the last communications with him, this is important, May 7th. Think about that. The last time I talked to her on an email, we were having a back and forth discussion. It wasn't like it was one person harassing and just throwing up email. It was an email, a response, an email, a response, an email, a response, an email, a response, all the way up until May 7th. Guess who was the last person to email on either one of us? Her. Not me. So and so she's asking me questions. I didn't respond. The reason why I didn't respond, I was pissed because I watched her after that interview lie. I watched her go on Amin's channel and make a claim that I didn't know how. I don't have the sources because I can't read Greek. Even though I was literally pulling up Greek on the screen and showing them.
I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see the.
It was just, it pissed me off so much that I just wanted to. No, I'm done communicating with you. You're beneath me. You're a liar. You're a piece of shit. You're garbage. You're dirt.
Right.
You're just dirt. I don't want to. So the last email was her nicely, politely asking me questions about stuff. She offered to give me a book. She goes, I have a copy of Thucydides. Do you want it? Didn't respond. That was the last email. That was on May 8th. That was after my May 7th email.
Right.
So that's funny. It says the last interaction was on May 7th through email. That's true. And this is being filed on July 2nd, 2 months later. June, July, two months later.
Yeah.
And then it says, until last week, he posted another YouTube video about the interview he had with her. She wanted this documented in case anything happens or it escalates. So wait a minute. My free speech, I can talk about you however the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want, as long as I don't actively what's it called?
Like besmirch character to where she has financial losses.
Yeah, like I lie about you, like I make things up. I can tell you
what's it called?
Oh yeah, it's
a term.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. When you lie about somebody, when you actively try to hurt somebody by lying about something, which is what
defamation
does, which is what Amin does, which is so funny. This is what Amin actually does. And by the way, this is borderline defamation. The you going around making it seem like I'm actively stalking or whatever, that's defamation. I could fuck you up for this, which I might do.
I did tell the audience earlier because I think there was a miscommunication or a misunderstanding going on in one of the different theological groups on Discord, because they said something to the effect of how you were sent a picture of her house to her, and then I asked you about it.
Never happened.
I was like, what was that? And you were, because I was like, there's got to be some explanation, because like you're not crazy.
So
like I know you're not like
can I just show the emails?
Yeah, you can.
So there's no picture of her house. Hold on. I'll show the emails.
Well, your explanation was it made so much sense. That's something that I
blow the hang. I don't like to show emails, but if I have to clear my ass, I'm going to do it.
Right.
So the first one was I told her you keep lying about me not being able to read Greek primary sources. Both of you know I can read and translate Greek fine. I actually thought you were sincere. So this is like a day after our discussion. Actually, look that up. When was our discussion? What was the date of that? When was that live?
Me and you, or y'all
me and her.
I was about to ask you the same question because I can't remember.
I'm gonna find it right now. Now. So it was April 26th. This is about a week later, and I was actually very upset that she was jumping on a live and making all just like totally propaganda mode, following what Amin does, like total propaganda mode, lying. She might as well be the one putting up fake AI images of me dressed as shit or whatever. Like that's the type of low level these people get to when they've lost the debate. When I'm sitting here asking for primary sources, you can't deliver one, or when you've lost the debate, they just make shit up. They just lie. So I was like, I actually thought you were sincere, considering you are from the Holy Land where I met God, and this is from me. This is from public knowledge on her Facebook page, saying she lives in Ohio.
Oh.
Now notice how I'm not pinpointing any location. I'm not saying what city, what town, what address, just the Holy Land, Ohio. This is a running joke that I've always talked about, that Nelson Ledges I call it the Holy Land.
Gotcha.
Because this is where I used to go and do this. You know what this is?
That's
That's Acacia
Syrian Rue?
and that's Syrian root. This is how you make ayahuasca. And this
Okay,
is
yeah. Oh,
where
yeah.
where I learned how to do that.
Oh,
And
very cool.
there's a Camp Elmer that I used to meet up with. This is in the early 2010s, late 2009. This is like 2009 to 2011. Before
Okay.
this is a long time ago. I was 19 to 21 years old at this point. Wasn't even able to drink yet, dude.
Okay, so it's not even what I was. I
Me-
thought you had said you had a
this is me
picture
going-
of you in front of a
this is
place you
me
used to
going-
party.
Yeah, this is me saying, I can't believe you're this instance here when you're from the Holy Land where I met God, which is actually part of my story, actually. In Ohio, me doing DMT and meeting God, changing everything. And then I showed a picture. Here's me at Nelson Ledges, Ohio.
In Ohio.
This is a public campsite. A public campsite. This is not anyone's house. That's me right there. See how I'm dressed up as a doctor?
Yeah.
That's what I was the guy, dude. I was
So
the guy.
fun.
So that was my way of like waving people. Hey, you need anything? I'm the doctor. I'm the
Gotcha.
EHR. See, those are fake little doctor syringes.
Oh yeah, I see.
So I was just kind of, this is Nelson Ledges back then was crazy. There's no cops in there. You have to pay to get in. There's no cops in there.
Okay.
So it was a free world. So I can literally walk around advertising my thing, if that makes sense. I literally was doing that. I had the ayahuasca, I had the DMT. There's another one. Look, you can see it's a whole campground.
Yeah.
Everyone's all hanging out.
I was under the impression that so it sounded like at first that
Only 3 pictures.
you sent a picture of her house to her, but it was the wrong house. That's what I heard. And I was like,
no house at all. It's a lie.
I was like, well, something has to be miscommunicated here.
It's-
So I was like, I'll find out since I'm
lying.
friends with you anyway.
They're
Like
lying. It's what it is. There's no house. Look at it.
I told my buddies that were talking about that. I did tell them the corrected version just so that they didn't have the wrong impression.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they were like, oh, okay.
let me keep going. So then I said, P.S. The muse would never tell someone to lie about primary sources. So you don't have the muse. She responds with this. The same day, within a couple hours. So she didn't have to, she could have just ignored it and then, that would have been the end of it. No, she's engaging with me, right? And she has all these weird, extra weird shit. Like why not just make that black? Why does that have to be? Keep working on it. You should make it through the HQ book. By the way, this is such a silly thing. This is how I know someone's really stupid. Like they think the only way to learn Greek is through this one textbook, through Amen. Hold on 1 second. Let me just show you the books that I've actually been using. I'm not using Amen's book anymore. I'm learning Greek my own. I have my own textbooks now that are better. Look at this already.
So I have one. I have the Greek intensive course. I have that book, but I've honestly just done Duolingo. But I've given up 100 times. So that's just me, though. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick with it like Steve Nelson and really get it without going to school for it. I just don't think I'm so scatterbrained. I wouldn't be able to stay on task that great. But
I have a new textbook that I use now called Thrasymachus.
Thrasymachus.
It's a newer. It's very similar to Hansen and Quinn, but it's way more. There's way more. What do you call it? There's way more actual things that it gets into.
Right.
There's a lot more translating, and I think it's a better book. I've also finished this entire packet right here that me and Steven worked on in 2025. This was all last year. Classical Greek course 2025. And it says Stephen Nelson, Gnostic Informant. We went through this whole packet.
Oh, cool.
And the point I'm not trying to I don't need to prove this to anybody.
Right.
I also have 6 grammar. Here's one right here. Greek grammar.
I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about it since I'm friends with so many of the Ammonite crew and crowd.
Yeah,
I thought because if they don't watch your episode, then they don't get to see it.
This is all they have. They hate that I'm winning the debate 100%. They're not providing primary sources. They're lying about Greek. They're getting basic shit wrong. And I keep showing this to the world. And the only response that Amen has is that I didn't finish Unit 4 with him. And the reason why, for the 10,000th time, and everyone knows this now, anyone who's actually genuine knows this now. The reason why I didn't is because not because I flunked out, I couldn't do it. Because Amen told me that I no longer can do one-on-ones with you anymore, Neil. I have to do 10-person classes. And not only are we doing 10-person classes, I want to start over back to Unit 1 again. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not paying money. He wanted me to pay $40 a week, $40 a class twice a week, $80 a week, whatever it was, to start over with 10 other people in a class. I'm like, no.
So why would you keep? Right, where you would.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So I stopped.
So you found Steve Nelson.
I stopped. Yes.
And then you continued.
So back to the email. Pull my email back up.
I got you.
So when you say this, you should make it through the book. You can do it. You're just fucking full of shit. You're gaslighting. You know that this is full of shit. You know that I'm not sitting here struggling to get through Unit 4. You fucking liar. And I don't have to lie like you do and pretend I did a world record of the book and got it done in 2 weeks. And then when it turns out that I don't even know what a definite article was. Remember that? Mm-hmm. I said, what's the definite article for, I think I said plural feminine. I think I said plural nominative feminine. I think it was. She goes, the definite article? Oh, she got it wrong too. She said, hey, it's high. Anyways, so stop with this bullshit. Stop with this bullshit. And I was like, bickering achieves nothing, right? I respect your perspective. Now, this is after the photos. This is important. This is after the photo. If she felt a certain way about this, why is she talking like this now? I respect your perspectives. Don't stop learning. Do stop bullying. Soften. Many reasons to not respond, but in the real world, I hold no anger or grief toward you, and I'm sure there's plenty of common ground between us. When I loosen judgments, I'm able to find and see the beauty in every living thing. Plus Nelson Ledges. Plus love Nelson Ledges. So she acknowledges that this is Nelson Ledges. This is not her house. She's acknowledging this is Nelson Ledges. Right here.
I was under the impression that maybe she took that as an opportunity, and she can come on the show and talk to me. I won't be mean to her. I was like, well, maybe, I've had a lot of girlfriends, and, sometimes the story afterwards is not exactly the same. And I don't know if maybe the way she communicated it, the guys misunderstood it.
Doesn't matter. She's lying, dude. She literally acknowledged Nelson Ledges right here. This is not her house. Right. Then she writes, never I did ayahuasca. I did eat shrooms once, blah, 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 blah. Let's keep going. It's not really that important. Right, and then I said, this is what I said back. The muse inspires and I bully, period. That is the muse, by the way. The muse is inspiration. If I notice someone lying about Greek and I feel inspired to call them out, that is the muse. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you have an urge to do anything.
I have an urge to call someone out for lying about Greek sources or the New Testament or whatever it is. That is the muse. The muse does not say, hey, make up a story about Greek and tell people that there's some pedo shit going on in Mark that's not really there. That's not the muse. That's lying.
Or at least it wasn't the point of the authors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if there was, like a ceremony or something going on where there's nudity involved, it wasn't like that was ever the focal point of the passage. It was an afterthought because I think it was supposed to be read as something that was sort of normal, like for what they were doing back then.
I wrote Cleo is the muse of history. There's literally a muse for history. It inspires you to do good history. And I'm explaining to you. The muse Cleo has inspired historians Plutarch, Herodotus, Polybius, Xenophon, Hecataeus, Thucydides. She inspires me. If you read Thucydides, does Thucydides make up stories? Does he lie about history? He's extremely careful. Even Herodotus, when he tells you a rumor, he'll tell you, now this is a rumor. It might not be true. Here's what I heard. They're all the muse is about honesty. It's about truth. Thucydides called out liars in his time. He literally did. He would call out fake historians. Thucydides. I don't know if you ever read Thucydides.
No, Never heard of it.
Read Thucydides, you'll find out very, very quickly. He's constantly calling out other historians who get things wrong. He'll say, what's his name? Apollodorus of Ascalon, when in his treatise about the Phoenicians, he gives a horrible excuse. Like he literally calls out fake liars in his text. That's the muse of history. And there's a reason why Thucydides survives throughout history and those other guys didn't.
I could see why you wanted to name drop him.
Yeah.
You know.
And then she responds, okay, explain to me your inspiration. And so look at this is her engaging back with me. Right. There's no like, oh my God, he's stalking me. You're literally responding to me on May 9th. My last time I talked to you was this time right here. That's the last time I talked to you. Then you responded again. Explain to me your inspiration and connection between the third eye and the Clio, the muse. If she guides you and form a genuine place, then I suppose do what you feel. In my experience, I haven't felt or seen any deception from Amun. He and Shui have guided and supported and protected me a lot in my real life for quite some time that psychologically a false mask cannot sustain. Okay, you're just an idiot then. You're just mind-numbingly stupid to not be able to notice this. But I do agree that some sources, depending on what we are looking for, are hard reaches. Sorry, Amin. Even your closest cult members know that some things are hard reaches. Wow. But reading between the lines is important too. Here we go again with this reading between the lines bullshit. Some things in regard to cult terminology cannot be outrightly spoken. But I'm for revealing what's hidden and exploring all sides of things. That's just another way of saying just because it's not in the text doesn't mean we can't find it. Definitely on board with the pineal gland. The body is wild. So look, she's being completely polite here. Completely polite here. Also, I have a copies of Thucydides' book too in the Greek, which I already have, by the way, so I don't need this. And would you like to have it? Maybe she was trying to get my if I
need a copy of it. I need more Greek.
If I would have said yes to this, she would have my address. How else would she send me this book? I can have her send it to a PO box or something. But look, it almost seems like the opposite's going on. She's trying to get my address, and it ends there. There's no response after this. That's the end.
Okay.
So the last person who talked to anyone was her, and she's being polite, by the way. So what happened? This is on May 9th? And
so two months kind of maybe a false flag police report, sort of making it look like you're doing more than you are, so that
why would you wait 2 months
to carry a torch for those that don't like you in the discords of other theological groups?
This is a total bullshit.
Something like that, maybe.
This is like straight up gaslighting people into thinking that there's something going on or some sort of weird thing going on, which is so ironic because the real stalker is fucking Amin, dude.
Yeah, I got that clip of the email. Do you have that? I was kind of taken back by that.
From Derek?
Yeah. I should show that real quick.
Let's show that right now. Let's see who's the real stalker. Let's talk about real stalking.
I was kind of surprised. Like in my brain, I've always thought that the Lady Babylon was sort of a Greek version of Borat or Bruno. And in that regard, putting weird emails together, I guess you could say I would have done it differently. But if you're going to try to sort of bamboozle or pull the rug out from underneath another guy with a huge channel, I don't know if I would send this email.
No, this is you're talking about Amin?
Yeah. So I would never send that to Mythvision trying to get to be
29. This is on 8/29, 2023, dude.
It's a long time ago. Yeah.
This is way before the brothel. There's no brothel yet. This is Amin Hillman trying to get a hold of Derek because he likes Derek. He loved Derek. Look at this. Derek. This is Amin Hillman on 9/10/2023. And by the way, just keep in mind, this is the same guy who admitted in a court document that he sexually assaulted and harassed his own students. Hello! Wake up!
Okay, that's in the court document?
You want to see this court document?
I believe you. I never heard that specifically, but yeah.
We'll pull it up next.
Cool.
Amon Hillman to Derek Lambert. The guy who he tells his audience that he never liked Derek. I've always rejected the brothel. Liar. I'm watching your last video on Abraham, and I just want to let you know how impressed I am with your work. Greek antecedents, ML West. Oh man, what a great source. You are talking Apollodorus. Oh man, beautiful. Excellent sources. Medea, Argonauts. My God, man. Nausicaa, gorgeous. Great job. Seriously, great job. Finally, someone approaching the reality instead of just smoking the fairy tale. Love your work, Amen. This is another one. This is a month. This is a few days before that. This is on 9/10. This was on 8/29. Derek, you showed my teenage daughter your nipples. It's at 27:10ish in Neil's podcast. My commendations.
Oh, God.
My commendations.
Oh, God.
I must confess, they were impressive.
Oh, God.
Thank you for including the dragon in the war.
Oh, God.
You are right about the Greek influence. You will be an outcast pioneer for voicing the reality of your findings. I admire your courage as well as your nipples.
Oh, God.
Hail Satan. Now, what's so funny about that is because this shows you how he's a narcissist. He loves you until you stop believing in him, and then he hates you. And then he makes pictures of you throwing in shit, like Danny Jones with shit all over him. Did you ever think that day was going to happen? I knew it was going to happen one day. I knew it. I knew eventually Danny Jones was going to do something to piss off Amen. I'm surprised it took as long as it did.
Yeah, with the people in his circle that would eventually make it in front of his camera, like I thought he would. Not to mention, he's obviously already had the debates on his show with that other classicist guy. I was like, I have a feeling Danny's going to get won over by everyone who opposes him one by one. And so I think when Danny said that you need psychological help to him, or however he said it to him, I think that really, really got the best of some of the crowd that's followed his work. And they're like, fuck, that was the best leg up they were even having, was Danny supporting him for so long. And now he's kind of like back to square one. He's not friends with you. He's not friends with Danny. So now it's just him again. I think he probably regrets how he went about some of the things in that YouTube, the courses he was he probably looks back and wishes he had kind of done it differently. But like, I'm friends with a lot of guys that are in and around that group. And I was like, well, I think Neil deserves a chance to at least address the emails. I think all the Amaniscos and adjacents get to see, I think seeing that email is valid because this is a guy that they have sort of built subcultures off of. And I've talked about the perversion being a little too much sometimes. But I thought maybe that email might kind of open up perspective to, like, you know, I don't think Gnostic Informant should be anybody's enemy here. If anything, I would say you're just trying to help people not feel bamboozled later, like Danny Jones or anyone that they'd want to just.
You know that? Hey, you seen that? You seen this clip right here of him bragging about brainwashing? Look at this. Watch this.
Do you see how he's telling you that?
Oh, is it muted?
He's the only
I can hear it.
Can show you the truth, basically, like what is the throne of Satan. These photos that are AI generated, and they are.
Can you guys hear it? I can hear it.
Explicit. So if you switch out purple in these AI photos for white, you're going to know what he's meaning to do when he says he's brainwashing
you can hear it, though?
with these photos.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Thoroughly brainwash you. We've got a couple of real nice clips for you that we're going to look at that will help to thoroughly brainwash you.
Hazing is
thoroughly
against
brainwashing
the law,
you. Like, what is that?
In all but 5 states.
Real quick. Last thing I want to show you. Cool. You asked about the court report. Look at this.
Yeah. I saw a lot of pieces of it, but I never read the whole thing through.
I just want to show some of these things that I clipped, but anyone can look this up themselves. You type in this file number yourself and on Minnesota's courts, and you can find this. It's David Hillman versus St. Mary's.
Yeah.
So he got fired, and he thought it'd be a brilliant idea to go after them for defamation.
Okay.
And it ends up backfiring. Look what happens next. Watch this.
Yeah. saw some of that back in the day when they were first doing the coverage of the deposition and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I honestly forgot about it too. Like just back in, I just forgot all about it. Honestly, even after reading all of it, I was like, oh, man, I don't know. People go after people sometimes, so I was given lots of benefits of the doubt. I always try to, at least, I've been pretty good at helping mediate, so that's why I felt like I wasn't completely out of touch here, bringing this up today, because there's nothing else really happening, but that is happening. All this stuff with police reports and
isn't this showing? Yeah,
stuff.
no,
I'm like, well, this is actually happening. So if I could do
wanna-
anything, this
that's
could
what I'm
maybe help the situation. Yeah, because
That's what
they
I'm
might
saying.
not watch
You
your
guys wanna
show
go this
anymore.
You guys want to go this route? We'll go this route. Like, you're going to lose.
Right.
I haven't done nothing. I've done nothing. I have nothing to hide. You guys can go ahead and fucking file all the reports you want, and it's all going to backfire. Look at this. In my email to Myers, Hillman told, so this is from that report that I just showed you. Look,
Right.
you see the numbers right there. Same number. It says, Truman, it's statements 2-6 are true. So in regards to, was he defamed? Was he defamed? The court came down and said statements 2-6 are true. Hillman sexually harassed students, defeating a defamation claim. Defeating a defamation claim. So look at this. Hillman did sexually harass students and commit misconduct. Hillman admitted in writing that he stalked a St. Mary's student, scaring her. Hillman admitted in writing during an investigative interview that he twice went to a student's dorm room. Hillman sent emails to a St. Mary's student asking about sexual lingerie. There is simply no credible basis for Hillman to now claim that he did not commit misconduct and did not sexually harass students. Therefore, truth is a complete defense to Hillman's claims against St. Mary's.
I have never seen that portion of that. Of all the times that I've watched different things, even the What Your Pastor Didn't Tell You, he had a lot of episodes on this. I stopped watching them because there were so many of them. So I was like, I missed a lot of that.
I'm just showing you all the big ones right here, all in one hit. So this person, the name is NA because they're a victim. They're not going to give us the real name, so you can't look them up, which is great. We shouldn't know who this is. There's no reason for us to know. Yeah. So the victim NA would be most sexually driven person on stage for opening. Alman said this. I think NA would be the most sexually driven person on stage. Hillman asked NA if she knew how beautiful she was. Creepy Alman, the teacher, asking a 19 and 20-year-old student, do you know how beautiful you are? Another time, asked her if she was seeing anyone. Are you seeing anyone? And she admitted that she was talking with a guy. Hillman asked, who dare touch you?
Oh, God.
Who dared to intervene in the space that I have set aside for me? Now, that's fucking crazy narcissism right there. N.A. remembers this word for word because it was the same time he tried to talk to the muse through her. That's fucking creepy, dude. That is creepy. On December 3rd, 2015, this isn't even that long ago, dude. Holy shit. Like my whole prison thing, it's nonviolent drug possession of pills. I went to prison for that. Nonviolent, completely nothing. That's the only thing on my record is nonviolent possession stuff. And that was in 2007 when I got caught with those. And then I ended up failing probation in 2011 and going upstate in 2011. So I'm already clean by this time. Like, this is way after me. Anyways, Dave Milliotz of Amy Wilhock met with Amin to discuss student sexual harassment allegations. Hillman was asked for his responses to multiple incidents of harassment. Hillman denied the allegations, although he admitted going to NA's dorm room only twice. I only went there twice. Now look at this. He made SS uncomfortable. SS then said that Hillman said things like, God damn, you were trying to make me fall in love with you. He's saying this to a fucking student. Yeah. Then telling her that she was not a whore. At another play rehearsal in October, SS that Hillman asked cast members to whip him. Is that not believable? We all know with riding crop. Hillman had also come to her dorm room multiple times over autumn break in October. SS informed Waverly that all of these things did not make SS feel very safe because Hillman worked in maintenance and had access to her building and knew where she lived. And you have Madeline worrying about me.
Right.
Maddie worrying about me. That's fucking rich.
I think that's a fair comparison. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the. I mean, if anything had like, let's just hypothetically, and I no offense to Madeline either, because I don't know you, but if you were that student, you probably would have a hard time taking his Greek course now, you know, or if you were any of those students, I don't know if you'd be able to entertain it a whole lot.
I didn't know about any of this when I was taking this class. If I would have known, I would have been out of this class way before.
I think that's kind of the, and I've heard all of this years ago too, but it's somehow I just kind of
I knew he got fired, but as far as I knew, I only read articles where it says he was like students were creeped out, and I was thinking to myself, well, Amon creeps people out all the time, so he probably got fired for just pushing the envelope too much. I did not know that this happened until like a year ago. This is what I just found this out like a year ago. I didn't know about the details.
I was actually sort of defending Amon too when I first saw. Well, even when I saw just the other day when you showed me that email to Derek, and I was like, he's probably just trolling him, but nevertheless, this is a weird ass email.
No, he's a weird guy.
You know what I mean? Like I was being as realistic about it.
Four other students also uncomfortable with Hillman. 4 other students. Amon Hillman told her that he'd be watching her. She literally ran away. And then I don't know, suddenly I was alive. She literally ran away and suddenly I was alive. I don't know if that's a quote from Amon, I guess. In her deposition, Myers conceded that Hillman's conduct with SL was stalking. Stalking. Both under St. Mary's sexual harassment policy and under any classic definition of stalking. Any classic definition of stalking. He's stalking. And then he said he told students involved to play the whip on several occasions, pulling out the whip. Look at this one. In September of 2015, he exchanged a series of emails with a male student. This reminds me of the Derek emails. This is exactly what he would do. We saw him do this with Derek. If you would like to feel a lady's, this is a male student. Would you like to feel a lady's silky negligee? Would you prefer a garter or a choker? When the student said he preferred the choker, Amon asked, leather with studs or a frilly domestic lace? Let me see you're in the finest lace. And we know he does this. He did this on his channel with Snap. Put on your lingerie. Yeah.
I was a little concerned about, because like with Borat and Bruno, that type of humor. Well, and we'll definitely go through this more. But I was, the song that he used to have in the opening of his skit. I never meant anything I said. I never said anything I meant.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that you choose that part of the song lyrics to be in the introduction of your thing, is that there is an element of misleading, satire, dinner for schmucks going on here. And if he could like come out, sort of like break the character, like Chris Farley would always be in character when he did interviews, or like Will Ferrell being Ron Burgundy. But if he could like have a conversation outside of that character and say, well, I've been doing the art of Greek theater with the topic of the Bible by misleading people on some of the things in here to have them arguing in front of gas stations with Mennonites giving out pamphlets and stuff and just causing chaos apples all over the place. If he were to come out and like say that, I think a lot of people would be like, besides all this stuff that we're looking at here, weird emails where he's probably trolling dudes, but I think at least the new people that show up and they're going through their first few months and first few episodes of Lady Babylon and their brains are blowing like, holy shit, I never knew any of it. And they're showing up now to the Discord groups and they're wanting to come on my show. Like that, it's like, no, I'm not trying to entertain it too much, because I am a writer. I'm not a Greek expert at all. I write fiction and everything's postmodern, humanitarian, humanism and stuff. So it's like, I'm not an expert. I was like, I'll have guys on, but ultimately I'm just a writer. So any other writer around that writes even books on like, dogs talking or something, like that would be more in a way like similar to what I'm doing than having another guy come on and explain pedophilic stuff from ancient Greece. Like, I'm not going to bring another guy on to talk about that ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's never going to happen. So my question was, why do people want to entertain it so hard after certain aspects have been the lid's been blown off? Do you think it's like a
Well, here's the thing: those things do exist in antiquity. There are there are rituals involved. It's the way he pushes it towards this ubiquitous thing that's in the Gospels. This is what Christianity started off as. His whole he doesn't know how to separate sources in a good methodological way. The way his brain works and the way he's teaching his cult followers to do this is, if there's a source that says something anywhere, then you can say, oh, if it exists here, then it exists here now. So you dig into the PGM and you find a source that mentions a pice, then the pice delivers the fire or something to, whatever. It's just the child involved in a ritual.
Right.
So, and then they go, there you go. There's a child in a ritual. What about it? What about it? What are you trying to say about? So you're saying because it's in this PGM here, then you can just apply it, and not even the word pice does not equal Neoniscos anyway.
No.
So you can't. So it's just like there's just so much weird shit going on.
Do you think they would agree with you if they could actually have the conversation with you? Like if they went, no, pice doesn't mean neon. Like if they had the chance to be like, no, it's not a kid in the garden. We agree. We mean we're talking about the scene when everybody brought their kids, which were pice and brefos, and they're trying to say, is that an illicit act in that scene? I think that is kind of what somebody would try to say if they were in the convo, but they're not, because they're in different discords and stuff, and they're not. You know what I mean?
No,
I'm friends with a lot of people, so I'm trying to make sure that.
But this is, no one's like hiding this or anything. There's legitimate discussion on pederasty and sort of get things that were involved, things that were happening in these ancient sources. No one's saying that this stuff didn't exist. But
we're just saying that the writers weren't trying to say that in the garden.
Yeah,
that's a fair statement. Yeah.
But also the fact that you find something in one source doesn't mean it's everywhere at all times in every single place.
Yeah, every lay stace isn't. You
can't just connect everything.
Pirate.
You know that meme of the guy from It's Sunny in Philadelphia? Where he's connecting the dots on that's what they're doing. That's what they are. They're literally that mean.
Pepe Silva. There is no Pepe Silva. right.
Yeah. Like here, let me show you my screen right now. This guy right here. This is what the Ammonites are. They are literally this meme in real time.
Right. But do you think it's because people are always after that great big holy shit thing? Like that, like, it's kind of like aliens being real. That's kind of the same sort of gist you get when you get from someone saying, oh no, man, if you really read the Greek, because everybody had this moment once when Michael Bygent did the Jesus Papers. Well, I didn't read the Jesus Papers. Lord Cameron told me about that one, but Holy Blood, Holy Grail, when the Da Vinci Code theory came around, I mean, it was slapped down so hard. So I think some people, and I'm one of them, want to find the next big alternate theory to seem smart or to seem intellectual in my own kind of way, knowing that mainstream academia is going to call you a quack the second you say it, which is also ironic. It doesn't make any sense either. Like, why would I do that to myself? I know that if I say the earth is flat, no one's going to listen to me ever again. No offense, my boy Cameron or Chase in the comments, who has talked about the earth being flat. So I'm always looking for like the next.
No, it feels good to be a flat earther. It sets off your, what do you call it? The endorphins. It makes you feel like you're special to be a flat earther. to think that everyone's wrong and all your friends from high school that went on and got master's degrees and they're, they own businesses and they were real successful working at some fucking major company. They're the CEO of some company or they got a PhD, they're a professor, and you're just fucking and you're doing nothing with your life. Right. And then so flat earth type shit, or everyone's wrong. This whole reality is fake. And I figured it out. Now you feel like you're doing something better than all of them. They're all stuck in a rat race.
Aliens,
idiots. They have no idea. They're all a bunch of sheep. But I figured it out.
That is aliens, flat Earth.
Is because I've been there. That was me, fucking 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm glad you came on. I don't have much more time. Obviously, we'll talk more about Philo even a little bit more. I'll come on your show or something. But I wanted to go live for the first time in forever. I'm glad you jumped on. I had Marcel on a little bit earlier, and I'm glad you talked a little bit about that, only because not everyone's going to watch this anyway. But for those that are,
I just want people to see what they're saying versus reality, just so you can get another glimpse of what's going on behind this shit.
Right. And the one thing though that I think I've gathered from some of the people is they don't like hostile engagement. So they have a hard time with hostile engagement. And I've made the example, like, I was like, well, Gnostics had to handle guys like Andrew Wilson. I was like, because I can totally see how, everybody said, hey, stop interrupting the guest or whatever. That happens. But when you're in a live conversation and you're excited to say something, you don't want to forget it. It's hard to just like write it down and wait till your chance to because you might forget it. I do. I'm so ADHD. So I either never talk or I don't shut the hell up. Yeah. And so I have a hard time, figuring out how to do that. And I'll have more stuff and we'll break open more characters and I'll have the release of the next book and all that shit. But dude, I appreciate you coming on, I just want all my friends to, before we go, just understand, like, I am friends with a lot of people in that world, and I'm not going to stop being friends with them, but we'll have the conversations. That way we can all find the common ground, because I think 90% of us agree. I think we all agree on 90% of stuff. It's just that little bit of stuff here and there. And then we're also bored. We're having arguments sometimes about it. So, not that anyone appointed me as the mediator here for anything.
Look, I'm not saying people should investigate things and be skeptical of mainstream narratives, because there are real conspiracies. There are real legitimate things happening behind the scenes that aren't being shed light on. I'm just trying to point out that at the same time, there is some sort of phenomenon with people going beyond the data and trying to discover things and makes them feel good about it.
Right. Or just even overlooking so much to keep maybe a narrative alive. Yeah. But hey, if it spins off into a bunch of like cool musicians and people getting ideas for songs and stuff, well, in that regard, I see the use, kind of. I'm writing books off this shit.
Sure.
I'm not putting the kid in the garden, but I'm putting the drugs in the books. I'm putting, Antonius is drinking opium after he gets stabbed, but he drinking opium all the time to numb the pain, and trying to make it, feel like a cool Roman story that Christians might kind of like, because, that Jesus is divine in my story. But it's not the exact story you heard, because technically if somebody made the story up, then whatever really happened would be anything but what was in the story, kind of. So because if somebody doesn't even know the guy's writing stories and all these names are wrong and different little things that he's done, they're based on the writer's own experiences or another thing he's read, like Homer, they're using that as a framework, which is how I write books. Gladiator, The Passion of the Christ, you put those books together, you kind of have my story, so but anyway, I appreciate you coming on, man. Let's go ahead and we'll knock out, and I'll go see if my baby and my wife are doing good. She let me keep going after he woke up.
Come on here and kind of clear that up, though. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
Touch, man.
Later.